I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. My guest today is Loai Al Fakir.
Oh, I forgot it, man. Right.
That's
why I kept it in English.
Fair enough, okay.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. I was like, thank you, God. Please give it back. I'm going to explode if you're going to watch all this shit. But he's good. He's interesting. Go. It's helped me in life.
Yes.
And it's been a bad thing in my life.
My guest today is someone whom I've known for some time now, from the start of his days when he got into real estate to becoming one of the dominating players in the Dubai real estate market. With this guy, the accolades don't stop. You know why? Because he doesn't stop. Gary Vee may have made the word hustle popular, but when I think of hustle, I think of this man. Grant Cardone may have made 10x popular, but when I think of 10x, I think of this man. I speak all around the world and on topics such as creativity, innovation, leadership, and thinking different. But when I think of someone who thinks different, I think of this man. This man hustles. This man does big, 10x big. This man thinks different, does different, and ultimately it is the reason why he is different. This is a man who has a never say die attitude, a man who is determined and driven. A man who rises in the morning torn between the desire to improve the world and the desire to enjoy the world. And for someone who's torn between these two worlds, he's doing darn well. My guest was born in Syria, grew up in Cyprus, educated in the UK, and now is dominating in Dubai. My guest has consulted many developers on creating, designing, and selling their real estate. He is the owner of Premier Mortgages, partner in Prime Stay Holiday Homes, and the founder and CEO of Provident Real Estate. Anyone in Dubai has either worked for him, worked with him, or at the very least, knows of him. This is How Do They Do It? I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. My guest today is Loai Al Fakir.
Thank you for the intro, man.
Oh, man. I appreciate you being here, making
Pleasure,
the time.
man. Thank you so much for bringing me on your podcast. Quite interesting.
It's my pleasure, man. I truly admire you, and this show is about chatting with people I admire.
I admire you.
Thank you, man. Hey, 2006 was a pivotal time for you.
Yeah.
So, since this is a pivotal time, let's go before 2006. Tell us about Loai from perhaps the time you were born in Syria, and then bring us to 2006, and then we'll take the ball and move it forward.
I came to Dubai actually February 6, 2005. I remember that date very well. But we'll go past that. So I was born in Damascus. It's one of the oldest cities in the world, inhabited cities, they keep on saying. But I was born there, never lived there, unfortunately. However, from time to time, as we would go back on holidays every summer to go visit, my cousins or family members. So this was something that the family did. I got educated in Cyprus, a beautiful small island. And the people over there, I go back there every year, to go see my friends, Limassol.
Yeah,
it's a small place down on the island. It's just... people are so genuine, so humble, so nice, and it's very similar to the Syrian or Arabic culture, but it's kind of European at the same time. So I had to I learned the Arabic culture, the Greek European culture, and it was quite dynamic and it was quite nice. And, living on a small island, even though it was small, but it was a very touristy place. So we had so many tourists coming around the world that I was learning so many things from everywhere else. And I used to work in the hotel. I've done so many different jobs. I used to work on the strip, PRing, and I could spot people walking by, and I would go, he's French, he's British, or they're Northern UK, the Geordies and stuff, or they're Londoners. I can just spot them walking.
Just because you had attuned yourself to their mannerisms.
Yeah, exactly. And their walks or whatever, what they would be wearing at that time. I don't know if you remember the Brits. We wear their Burberry caps, so their white shoes, Reebok, and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of spot all that kind of stuff. So we were hustling, working at a young age. So I got educated in Cyprus. Studied over there, did my schooling. I went to a private English school. So obviously I learned a bit of Greek, but my main education was British and British curriculum. So I had the O-levels, A-levels and all that. And that easily directed me to continue my education in the UK. So I went to Kingston University in London, southwest London.
Before that, when you say you were hustling in Cyprus, tell us a bit more about that hustle.
I mean, even when I go back, my friends laugh about it all the time. Look at you, you're in Dubai, you're doing this and you're doing that. And remember what you used to do back in Cyprus. So my brothers, when they were young, they used to work in a hotel. It was owned by a family. It was called Tassiana and Giatania. So these hotels were very close to the strip. So they would work in the pool, in the bar, in the restaurant and all that. So as I grew up, I continued probably on what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I started working over there, learning. And I was like working maybe at 15, 16 years old. And I used to have a little scooter,
That's your island life, right?
Yeah, a little scooter driving to work, back. And of course, I've met a lot of tourists at that time. So I was, learning about the rest of the world. And of course, we had, our local channels. I don't know if you remember BFBS and STV back in the UK. It was British Forces Radio Broadcasting Corporation. So we had all the shows like EastEnders, Coronation Street, all the stuff that you would watch
over the world, yeah.
that you would watch in the UK. We'd be watching it in Cyprus. So I knew exactly the British culture. So when I moved a lot of people tell me, I studied like 3 years in the UK. Oh man, you sound British, or you must. I'm like, yeah, because I lived in your culture, but in Cyprus.
Well said, yes.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
And then what kind of hustles did you do? Like, was that your first taste of, we're going to come to where you are today and the things that you're doing, but was that the early signs of it?
Look, I've worked my whole life. I've worked since I was 15 years old, from the hotels to the strips. Even when I was in the UK studying, I was working in a bar called Yellow Bar, so it's a student bar for the university. So I've learned my whole life to work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've done it. And that sometimes I get surprised. I've got relatives or family friends or whatever, and they've got kids at 25, they don't finish uni and they haven't even a job till date. And I'm like, wow, is that the new generation?
Yeah.
For me, I grew up working, like even my bike that I bought, I saved up. I bought it. My clothes, I bought it. My whole living, I bought it. For me, I think, for me back then, I don't think it was like unique. I think everyone around me were at the same.
That was the culture.
That was a culture, I guess, at that time. Yeah, exactly. So everyone, my friends, were all working.
Yeah.
They were all doing something, even though at a young age, you go to school in the wintertime, summertime, you're working. Sometimes you'd be working even in the winter time, different days, part-time. So, I don't know. The new generation, they've got different things about them now. Yeah, the Insta, the Facebook, they're making money online, they're hustling. But we grinded when we were young. We used to grind to, live and enjoy life kind of thing.
Yeah.
Get inspired.
Whether you're in Dubai for business or pleasure, the last thing you want to do is blow your budget on accommodation. Which is why I recommend you check out our host venue partners, Rove Hotels. Beyond being price sensitive, what I love about Rove Hotels is the fact that they are a combination of cafe, culture, and just coolness. Even my guests, many of them, when they arrive before we record or after we finish recording the podcast, they actually comment. They go, wow, this place is cool. The vibe is amazing. And it is amazing. So if you're in Dubai for business or pleasure, I recommend you check out our host venue partners, Rove Hotels. This episode is brought to you by M Dojo. Whether you're in business or new to business, you need 3 things: a good website, traffic, and being able to convert that traffic into paying customers. That's what M Dojo does best. They're able to create for you a functional, state-of-the-art website, drive targeted traffic, and put in all the elements needed in order to convert that into paying customers. Isn't that what you want? Of course it is. Give the team at MDojo a call and see how they can help you increase your sales and profits. Tell them I sent you. Their website, mdojo.co. Sorry, I just want to touch on what you said in terms of the old culture, because I remember when I was a kid growing up in Auckland, schooling, then I would work in McDonald's. Yeah. But then in McDonald's, I wasn't the only one getting $8.49 an hour. There were kids there who had really rich families. Like, why are you here? You don't need to be here. No, I need to buy something, so I'm saving up for it. It was really a cultural...
Exactly. For me too, it's not like I came from we were a middle class family, and I would say a bit better than middle class, but I worked for my money. I didn't get any pocket money from my family, you know what I mean? It was just like the natural thing to do. It's not like my dad told me, you gotta go work and get your money, or my mom told me, you need to go pay your bills. It was a natural given thing for us to go and do it.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoyed it. And it built me to be the man who I am today, I guess. For sure.
So then you go to the UK.
Yeah, so I studied business management and administration in the UK, Kingston University. It was pretty cool. It was a nice campus, met a lot of different, cultures, nationalities. UK and London is a very diverse city. And I remember when I went to the UK and I saw these big buildings. I love London as a city, by the way, too, because London, when you're there, you feel the power of it, you know? Especially when you walk in central London, you look at the buildings and you look at the history. You see Marble Arch, you see Waterloo, or you see Wellington, you go Piccadilly, and you're walking around, you feel like this country, it's an island, but it once ruled the world, you know? And you're here in the center of it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of motivational being in there and inspiring, like you are in the center of the world.
And what made you pick, say, the UK and pick the degree you picked?
Man, actually, that's a funny story, to be honest
Go on.
with you. My brothers left and they went and studied in Ohio State University. So they went actually to the States.
Yeah.
For me, so my mom and my dad actually wanted me to continue and study in the States, but when I graduated or when I finished school, it was after September 11. And I'm originally Syrian. I had still my Syrian passport at that time. So when I applied for my visa, it got rejected.
Slightly difficult, yeah.
No, it got rejected. And I remember my mom was crying. She's like, you're the youngest one from the family. I want you to be with your brothers, you know, living with them, you know, them supporting you and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, then what's the other options? And I was like, okay, I did English curriculum, all of this, and I think probably the UK's the best for me. And I heard about Kingston University. It was like in the top 10 or top 20 best business schools at that time. So I applied and I got accepted, and then I did my visa and I was okay, I got it. So I went over there. I have no regrets. I remember my mom crying and very upset at that time because she wanted us all brothers to be united.
Together, yeah.
But I feel my journey in life took me to the UK because it brought me to Dubai later on.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think maybe my success, I don't think it's a city that made me successful. Yeah, it's a very dynamic, inspiring city. But I feel wherever I would have gone, I would have been successful.
100%.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm determined and all that kind of stuff. But that journey took me over here.
Yeah.
So there's no regrets of whatever happened. You know, sometimes you think, we have a saying in Arabic. I don't know how, I'm going to try to explain it in English.
You can say it in Arabic first.
Yeah. Like if you feel sometimes some things are bad for you, they end up being good for you in the long term.
Right.
And that's happened many times in my life that you're like, oh, you're sad I didn't get that. Or I didn't get that big deal. And it might be something really good, or I didn't travel there, or this girl broke up with me and you're upset. And then you meet up with a better girl. Ends up being a better girlfriend than your old girlfriend.
Yeah,
you know what I
true.
mean?
It's true, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, what's the saying in Arabic? Out of interest.
Well, I forgot it, man.
forgot
Right.
Arabic, okay.
That's why I kept it in English.
Fair enough, okay.
But my mom used to say it too all the time.
And did you pick business by choice?
Yeah, look, it was business management, marketing, and administration.
Okay.
I actually, when I was young, you know, we're all ambitious when we're young. You never know what you wanted to do. At one point, I wanted to be a pilot. At one time, I wanted to be a lawyer because that's what my father studied. And watching movies like A Few Good Men and The Firm.
That's
Like,
right.
oh yeah, that's what I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm good, you know, getting on you know, in the courtroom and talking. But then again, you know, I'm glad that I didn't do it. I have passion for entrepreneurship. And I'm glad that I went into that direction. I studied. I think that was a foundation. I learned a lot. In the UK, the way they teach you, especially in university, and I remember when I went there, they put us in groups in some classrooms, and they'll tell you, oh, you have to do presentations and work in groups. And that taught me a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'll be honest with you, did I really use my degree? I know a lot of people that didn't finish school or did school. I have even friends in Cyprus that didn't even finish the third year of high school. And I'm not like saying that school, but it builds a foundation.
Sure.
And anything you're doing, the foundations are the most important things.
And it's important that you like it. The reason I'm asking you is because I grew up in a Middle Eastern household.
Yeah.
And for me, like especially on my mom's side, it was drummed into me to be a doctor.
Oh, yeah?
And then if it's not a doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineer, I think that's about it.
Typically in the Arab world, say, yeah.
But it was really just a doctor. And if you had asked me for $1 million, pick a fifth profession, I wouldn't even be able to tell you. That's how much it was like a blinker.
Yeah.
These horses with the blinkers on. And so I ended up doing like pre-med, and I ended up doing health sciences degree. And I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
A girlfriend of mine would laugh. She goes, you don't even like blood. How are you even thinking about getting into a medical degree?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm asking, was it by choice? Was it by chance?
Yeah, no, my parents were very open. And my parents were very open then. They weren't the parents, to be honest, that told me, oh, you got to be a doctor, you got to be this, or you got to be that. They kind of left it to me. And to be honest, at school, I was one of the toughest students that just barely made it.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I would get my report card. I wouldn't know how I managed to get a report. I would never give it to my father. And then, like, he would remember in the middle of the summer, so where's your report card? Let me see it. And I'm like, oh, shit, okay. And I'll bring it, and it'll be like C+, C-. Like, B+ is like my best. You know what I mean? And like, oh shit. And then he'd give me shit, but he would let it go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He knew me, and I don't think, you know, like, I might have not been, even in university, like, I just passed.
Yeah.
You know, even in Kingston, I just barely made it.
But your thing was here and here.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. And I was never concerned about that. I just knew I wanted to finish it all, move on to the next steps.
Whatever I need to do, just to get it out. Just get it
exactly.
out. While we were having a water break.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you like to get your head around quite a few things.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you, the camera stops every 20 minutes. Can you
yeah.
just run us through that thought? Because I think that was great.
So we're talking, the camera just switched off for a little bit, and he's like, you were explaining to me why, and I told you I knew it.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about, you know, I like to know about everything. We bought all the equipment, so we're planning our own podcast. But I like to get involved in everything, and I used to micromanage a lot, and I've learned throughout time that sometimes you have to let it go. Because if you micromanage a lot, it will drain you at one point.
Yeah.
It takes so much energy from you. And people are competent too, but if you don't give them the opportunity to shine, and that's going to stop you and stop them and prevent you from succeeding.
Absolutely.
And as the organization gets bigger, you cannot micromanage everything. If you're going to, you either drain yourself, you're going to be depressed, and you're not going to allow other people to shine in their positions where they need to shine. And sometimes you need to allow people to make their mistakes. I've made so many mistakes. Why don't I allow others to learn from their mistakes? But if I keep on telling them what to do and how to do it, they're not actually learning by themselves.
That's true.
And this is what I've learned throughout time, is that you have to sometimes let go. A bit of micromanagement is okay from time to time, but you do need to like keep an eye on things. But yeah, you got to let go too. You have to know when to let go and when to come in and micromanage things. If it's a fact, go in and find the detail of what's going on.
Sure.
You know?
But you know, we're stubborn creatures. As much as we know things,
Yeah.
and perhaps it was the case with you, it wasn't the first signs of micromanaging where you're going, hey, I better back up, or better give them the opportunity. Do you remember the incident where you're going, okay, this is where I need to step back and let people go through it, or the time where you woke up
I
one
wouldn't
day?
say there's one incident, but what I've learned throughout time is that in the beginning, when you're starting a business, you do need to micromanage a lot of things, because you need to know the whole chain or the whole flow of
Absolutely.
your business.
Absolutely.
So you need to know the details. Like, I would like to know from the forms to the details of where it goes, everything, in order to know where can something go wrong and you can fix it. So in the beginning, when you have a small business and you're growing it, and to find the right people to take the positions, I do believe you need to micromanage, or not only micromanage, understand every aspect in your business. Like, every little piece of the puzzle needs to fit in, and you need to know it inside out.
Yes.
Later on, you can find the right people to be positioned in the right place to take control. And that's what I've learned throughout time.
Yeah. And you know, I'm going to come back to, or you know, I'll just ask you now, because one of the things I wanted to ask you is, as you've built a big business, you've been able to attract superstars.
Yeah.
How do you attract superstars?
You know, this is funny. I mean, I started as a salesman in brokerage myself. I don't do much sales anymore in real estate and properties. So one of my agent comes up to me, he's like, you don't know the struggles, you don't know about sales as much as us anymore. I'm like, buddy, I'm selling every day. I'm selling you dreams, I'm selling him dreams, I'm selling all of you guys dreams in order to join me, work with me, and build this company. Even when I recruit someone into a position, I'm selling a dream.
Yeah.
And I'm selling every day. Every time I'm negotiating, purchasing something, selling whatever, it's sales.
Yes, absolutely.
So a lot of people like our mind, they think our sales is just insurance. Your sales is every day.
Yeah, marriage is sales.
Yeah, everything is sales. You're convincing people of anything, or your girlfriend or your friend to do something, to go sales, negotiation, end of the day. So we're selling 24 hours. So someone asked me, so how many sales do you conduct, or how many sales do you do? I'm selling every day now, probably every 15, 20 minutes. That's sales.
Yeah, that's knowing it for sure.
Yeah.
Get inspired.
One of the questions that I get frequently asked is, Kev, how can I increase my motivation? We see great individuals, we see achievers, like many of the guests that I'm bringing on the show. They have the energy, they do so much, they're in a state of flow. How do they do it? Well, my team and I have released an article which I've made available on kevinabdulrahman.org/blog, the ultimate biohacking guide to increasing motivation. Or you can simply Google Kevin Increase Motivation and the article should pop up right at the top. It's absolutely free. Read it, and most important of all, take the bits and pieces that are relevant to you and apply it into your life to increase your motivation. I hope you find the article of value. If you do, feel free to leave your comments and also share it with your circle of friends. Again, you can Google it, Kevin Increase Motivation. It will be the first link that pops up, or on my website, kevinabdulrahman.org dubai.com/blog.
So what's the thing that because it's a common, I think, misconception or a common pain and for a lot of businesses and business owners where they go, there's a lack of talent, or we can't find the right people, or this and that. And yet you see certain groups, the likes of Google, the likes of Facebook, they have a wait list of 1 million of the top minds from around the world wanting to work with them.
Yeah.
And you've built a huge business, in Dubai. Do you have a methodology? Do you have a style? How do you attract superstars?
Look, I've learned that also throughout the time. I wouldn't say so. We've all made these mistakes.
Yeah.
I've hired people in the wrong positions many times, but you learn from that. And there's, some people, the word failure is a taboo. Failure is just another stepping stone. If you're not failing, you're not going to succeed.
100.
There's no success with no failure.
That's right.
And I always say to people, I want you to fail as fast as possible, as many times as possible, so you can reach success. So I've recruited people in the wrong positions, or I recruited people. Sometimes I recruited people thinking they might be shit, and they ended up being the best. I recruited someone that I thought would be amazing and ended up being crap, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But certain criteria that I've learned that you can find in people that can show you what's their motivation, their ambition, and sometimes you have to go in depth in their own personal life. And then you can find what kind of characteristics they are. Not just for the position, but in general, their work ethic.
Yeah.
That's very important. People can learn. If you know they're going to like what they're going to be doing and they're going to enjoy it, they will succeed in it. But you need to find, does he have the work ethic?
That's right.
Everyone's a dreamer. Everyone comes to I want to make 50 million. I want to make this. I want to make that.
Everyone wants the good life. Yeah.
Everyone wants the good life. But they're dreamers. They're not like people that are actively ambitious and they're going to put the time and effort to get to where they're going to achieve. And a lot of people from outside see it. When they see someone successful, he's on top of the hill, they don't see all the struggles that they've gone through. And I mean like real struggle.
Yeah.
Like really tough times. The depression, the stress, the times that you felt that sometimes I wake up, and I've had times I wake up, I'm like, what the f*** am I doing? Sorry that I'm saying these
No,
words.
you can say
What am I doing in this world?
Yeah.
Like I even went to a therapist one time, and we were like talking, and she told me, if you died one day, and your soul was out, and it was looking upon you, would you be happy with yourself, what you're doing day to day?
Good question.
And I looked at her, and I'll be honest with you, with all my success, and I was like, no, not 100%. Because why I went to her, because I feel that I do self-inflection to me. Like, I'm successful, and everyone says I'm successful. I don't feel it 100%. I feel I still want to do a lot more.
Yes.
I still, on my journey, there's a long road to that journey.
Yes.
Anything I'm doing, like, I want it to be perfect. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, is that the good thing? But it's my driving force.
Yes.
That's what keeps on pushing me to keep on doing better and better and better. And there's a lot of things, like sometimes like when we're talking about micromanagement again, and that's what I was thinking that time. Do I really want to micromanage? Do I want to look at myself, my soul outside, micromanaging people? Or do I want to look at the bigger picture and do the bigger things? You reach the point, let people do their job. And when I've done that, some people really succeeded and really shined, and they really surprised me.
Yes.
So it was kind of very refreshing.
When you mentioned that you look at them in depth in terms of a person, what filters do you use to separate, at least where you can?
I mean, some things that you might find it funny.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to see how responsible they are.
Yes.
So sometimes I find people who are married or just got married are a bit more responsible than unmarried.
Sure.
I'm not married, you're not married,
Sure.
but we're still responsible guys.
Yes. But as a general,
I find people that get married, they're more committed. Do you know what I mean? People that are hungry, I look at their career history too. They'll be jumping around from company to company. I'm like, okay, that's a question mark, but let me ask them a few questions. Why? If they're going to come and complain about their company a lot, I'm going to write, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you, even as a broker, when I started my career, no one trained me.
Yes.
I went to a small company, I started working, I went and self-taught myself. Yeah, there was a bit of help, but I taught myself. And a lot of people make excuses about their bosses, about their companies, about their whatever. You're the king of your journey. You're the king of your domain.
That's right.
You do it yourself. You can go pick up a book and read about learning real estate. You can go watch YouTube videos. You can go watch podcasts. You can go to trainings and whatever, or networking events yourself. No one has to be telling you to do this. That you need to do it. So people that complain a lot about the world, they're negative. I will look about their dress sense. I'll talk about their activities. I'll be honest with you. And I've learned that myself also, that I've seen people that are active in their lifestyle, which is like first, they're going out, hitting the gym, or their activity, riding a bicycle, or playing golf, or whatever, are more successful than people that are sitting at home doing
They're
nothing.
active versus passive.
Yeah, exactly. So these are little things that I'll look at. If they're like into sports, into activities, they're active, they're doing different little things. These are like important aspects for me.
Even when you're mentioning this fact that someone is actually complaining, I'm like, tip for viewers or people that are listening, never complain. Never complain.
I got a CV, it's funny that you're talking about it. So I got a CV a couple of days ago. Someone messaged me on LinkedIn. He looked good, he had a nice profile, well dressed, everything. I'm like, okay, send me your CV, I'll pass it on to the sales director. So he sends me an email, I don't really read it. He wrote a lot of things in the beginning of the email before his CV, and I go, oh, okay, it's nice. I sent it to the director to interview him. Then the director comes back to me, he's like, did you read that email? I'm like, why, what's wrong with it? He's like, please read it. So I was reading, and at the end he was like, please, I do not want to meet any stupid directors that will be asking me questions of where I am or what I'm doing every day. And I'm like, okay. And then he had another comment similar. I was like, okay, I'm like, forget it, leave him alone. Today in the morning, actually, before coming here, I get a call, a number I didn't know. I answer, he's like, hello, Mr. Loai, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I sent you my CV. I'm like, for what position? He's like, yeah, I sent it to real estate. I'm like, oh, okay, I remember you very well. I'm like, listen, I actually like your CV, but you know why I didn't call you in? He's like, why? I'm like, because of XYZ comment.
Yeah.
And that was a red flag for me immediately.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, you're calling you haven't even met the manager.
Yes.
And he's using his past experience. If he's had the bad past experience,
yes,
doesn't mean you're going to have all your future past experience. And for me, that negativity, I already felt that guy had negative energy around him. And I think energy is very, very, very important
100%.
For me when you're hiring a person.
It affects you beyond just their role as the company culture.
Yeah. Not only that, one negative person spreads negativity to everyone else. And even the good ones become, it's like a rotten apple in a case. We make all the other ones rotten with it.
Yeah.
So you got to find these people, and they're like cancer. You got to find them and cut them quickly, because if you don't, they'll affect others.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me many times in my office. But we found that people got rid of them, but they always come about. You know,
it's just a few people that just keep coming around. Little buggers.
Yeah.
You know, the thing just on complaining, it's so important because, like you said, you're the king of your journey.
Yeah, exactly.
You started in a small brokerage, you had to learn everything.
Yeah.
The moment you complain about the fact that, I had a bad boss or I had a bad cultural environment, you're shifting it to someone else.
Yeah.
And this is a red flag for anyone. If you want to work with great minds, or you want to work with great teams, or you want to work with great leaders, this is a red flag for all of them, because they want to know that you are someone who takes responsibility.
Yeah.
So instead of that, here's a tip. You can say, it's a lot better for me if I wanted to get a role with you to say, hey, I'm working at ABCD. Instead of bad-mouthing them, I can say, I don't feel that I've got the potential to grow, or I feel like I've got more to learn from you.
Correct.
There are positive ways that I can show that I want to grow,
Yeah.
regardless of who they are and what they are, good or bad. But we should never badmouth anyone.
Yeah. Not only that, if you've got a problem, you're not liking something in your company, go talk to your manager. If he doesn't take action, try to raise it up and talk and try to figure it out, or give constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Try to tell them, explain to them, this is a system, it's preventing me, and talk and debate about it, and maybe you'll get better results.
Yeah.
And for me, I have agents coming to me in the office and they give me suggestions. I listen to it, because sometimes they're right, and I'm like, interesting. I never looked at that. I never really thought about that. And sometimes they give me really silly ones, but it's okay. You're not going to get all the best ones. You'll take it, you'll absorb it. If you feel you can do it, you can fix it, do it. And I think anyone who's complaining about their work, try to talk to someone, a manager, tell them what the issues are in the office. We can work together to fix it. Even say, I would like to be part of helping to fix it. I would like to do some suggestions. If they don't listen, and they're really closed-minded, then you know what? Just leave.
Yeah.
Leave the environment. Go to a different environment. And instead of complaining and moaning and being unhappy and waking up or whatever with a bad negative mind frame, just leave.
Mm-hmm.
No one's holding you back. You're not married to that company.
Yeah.
Leave.
100%. And I'm curious about your answer and then your thinking process after you visited the psychologist. So, that was a great question. So if you died and your soul was looking back at you, would you be happy?
Look, at that moment, I'll tell you what my issue was. I love to travel.
Yes.
And I love to enjoy the world and learning more in the world. And I feel because I really focused on my business life and my success financially, and I was more focused on that than everything else, that I've let other things behind.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing that I decided that, and I want to change that. I want to go, nothing's going to change. You know, you live once, you've got short periods, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years left in your life.
Yeah.
I want to see the world. I want to meet everyone. I want to go and see Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
I want to go and see the Himalayas. I want to maybe want to climb the Himalayas. I want to go to Iceland and swim in these, you know, volcanic water,
the blue
whatever, the
lagoons.
blue
Yeah,
lagoons.
Yeah.
I want to go and see the, what do you call it, the Northern Lights.
Yes.
You know, we live once. I want to see that.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And it's not only about money, money, money. End of the day, money, it's all that green in your bank account. What are you going to do with it at
Yes.
the end, you know? So this is something that I looked and I was like, you know what? I've put too much time into my work that I've put that behind me.
Mm.
I want to spend maybe more time with my family in the States, my brothers and all that kind of stuff, and
Yes.
their kids. So for me, it was like, maybe sometimes, this is where it came, pulling back and letting go sometimes.
Yes.
You know? And these are little important things. And that's where I felt when she said that, would you be happy? And I was like, not entirely. Do I want to remember myself in this office for the rest of my life? I mean,
Right.
it's a beautiful office.
Yes.
I have beautiful people that
It
I
is.
work with.
Absolutely.
And I enjoy what I do and I love what I do. But
But there's more to you than just this.
absolutely. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that I felt that was really important. And that's what people need to look at. And they have to ask themselves, if I look at my body outside my soul looking down,
Yes.
am I happy with what am I
Yes.
doing day to day? Am I living the life that I deserve or I want with myself?
That's
That's
right.
something important.
And is it the right balance? And I wanted to highlight this because we all, whether we meet a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or just on our own, we need to ask this question. Because sometimes that's why the whole midlife crisis that people have, or
Yeah.
they get all depressed and what have you, is they fail to ask this question. But if you can ask this question and perhaps might not even get the answer immediately, which is why I'm
You got to start asking.
you
it.
gotta start asking, and then as a result, perhaps your thought process, you letting
Yeah.
go, comes about, or your decision-making process, or your planning changes.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
might book and plan out more
Mhm.
holidays to see your family
Yeah.
and the kids.
Exactly.
So shall we go back to you in the UK when we just veered off?
Yeah, yeah.
We took a
So
tangent.
I can't remember where we were exactly.
Yeah, you were studying in the UK.
So I was studying in the UK, studying business management and marketing. I was working at the same time in Yellow Bar, which is a student bar. It was quite a good experience over there.
Good tips.
Yeah, I learned a lot of things. I loved living in London. London for me is a dynamic city. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people complain that it's cloudy, it's rainy, it's dull.
But it has a feel, man. It is different.
There's something about it,
Yes,
you know.
it has a
It feels like a power city, you know.
Yeah.
So I loved living there. I learned a lot. And then after that, I went back short period to Cyprus. After that, I worked for my dad. He had his own business too, like selling high voltage electrical components to Syria, Yemen, Libya, Russia, China. I didn't really enjoy that. I came to Dubai. So what happened? My uncle has a company branch in the UAE, and they were selling lighting. So I do you want to go work in Dubai? I'm like, Dubai? Well, I've heard a lot about Dubai. Why not? You know, let me go check it out.
How you doing?
It was right at that time was 2004, so Dubai was there, but not there yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that world city. So I was like, yeah, I'd like to see it. So I remember when I came and I stayed in one of these hotels in Dera. And even Dera back then, when I got in, I said, oh, wow, man, this is cool. And then I have a family member that picked me up when we were driving in the car in Sheikh Zayed Road.
And then things start to open up.
Yeah, there's all these buildings. I'm like, wow, wait, I'm in New York, but not New York. I'm in New York, but not New York.
Arab New
I was
York.
like, yeah, Arab New York. I was like, wow. And back then, if you compare today to then, like almost downtown didn't exist back then. Business Bay didn't exist. Marina was like half built. JBR was not built. It was a lot of sand. But still, back then, it was very, very impressive.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Whatever job I'm taking, I'm staying. You know? And it was even it was a lighting job. But I took it.
So you work in a
Lighting
lighting store?
company, but it was not a lighting store. They were like a lighting company that they went to buildings and they would like supply the developers or the contractors the lighting for buildings. I did this for 3 months and I quit immediately. I mean, the reason why I quit, I remember I went for a meeting and I gave my business card to some guy and he grabbed it and he used it as a toothpick.
Oh, that's just disrespectful.
And I was like, hey man, I've been, all my life, Europe, whatever, studied, graduated. And I'm giving my business card to this guy, and he's using it as a toothpick. That ain't for me. And I
That
knew
was
it.
the straw.
Oh yeah, that
was
toothpick. Using my business card as a toothpick was like, wait, I can't do that.
Beat your ass.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. So I met a Syrian guy. His story is quite interesting too, by the way. His name is Mazen Ilyas. So he had a company called Cacti Media. Cacti Media was.
I know that guy.
Yeah. You know him?
Yeah.
So I was going to bring that in actually.
Yeah.
So I was going to say.
I'll-
So and perhaps I was going to say, is this where Maz comes in?
Yes.
2006?
Yes.
At the end of the 3
Yes.
months? You quit first and then
No, so I met Mazen, okay.
before you quit?
Yeah, kind of was the right time. I was deciding to look for a job, and then I met him, and because I studied business management and marketing, I wanted to get into marketing. So I was actually applying, and I went to a lot of media companies, marketing agencies. I think I went to Team Young and Rubicon, and I don't know, whatever, and interviews, but I never had experience at that time. So I'd walk in, and I'd see these advertising agencies. They looked so cool. People walking around like, wow, man, that's where I want to be.
And this was just random? You just go, this is the place I'd like to work? Like, I'd like to do advertising and marketing?
I wanted to do, because I studied business management and marketing,
Yeah.
so I wanted to be in advertising. Do you know what I mean? So I started sending my CVs out to all these advertising agencies, and when I was going for interviews, I was like wowed by, the people walking, everyone looked so good,
Different,
you know what, I want to work in this like big marketing international advertising agency. And then Cacti Media came about. Cacti Media was a web development company, but they had some great clients. So
this is not 2006, which is
2006, yeah. So they called me in, they're like, come for an interview. So I thought Cacti Media might be a big agent. So I walked in, it was like a hole in the ground and got a hood or whatever. But they were doing like great projects in web development. They had T-Com at that time, Dubai Holding. They had a lot of projects. And I met Mazen, and he was Syrian Brazilian, and he inspired me. He was a young guy, he was like a couple of years older than me, with his company, living the life and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, I want to do that. I was like, you know what? I think I can do that. So he kind of mentored me. He started taking me around with him for all the meetings and all that kind of stuff, showing me how to do proposals, getting me to know how to do like web development. So I would sit with the web development team, the designers. So I learned a lot in a very short time period, and I was getting good contracts for him.
And that was still 2006, and in Dubai,
that was, to
early
be
days.
honest, man, maybe it was because I came in February 6, 2005.
Yeah.
And I started actually in Cacti Media in the end of 2005. So still 2005, it was a short period. I only stayed in the lighting company for a couple of months, like maybe 4 or 5 months. And then I started with Mazen. Because I stayed with Mazen in the web company for around maybe 8 months. And then he opened the real estate company.
But while you were doing that web development, because this is critical to the next phase of what your success.
Correct, absolutely. I learned a lot during that period, 100%.
At that time, maybe other countries were ahead, but in Dubai, not many companies. That's probably why he had T-Com and the other groups.
Yeah, correct.
They weren't online in the way the Western world.
Correct, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely.
So you would have learned some foundational.
Yeah, I was learning all that SEO for him. Languages that you build, how you build it, how you build backends, how you build CRMs, how the front end works, all of that. I learned it all from him, definitely. And that was a pivotal point, what actually helped me when I started Provident Real Estate in 2008.
So just before that, so you were with Cacti?
Cacti Media. So Cacti Media is Mazen's company.
Yes.
Okay. So at that time, he had his girlfriend in real estate, a very successful lady, and they opened a company called PRV2.
Because of her experience. That's how they.
Yeah, correct. So they went and grabbed an exclusive project called Acacia Avenues in Al Sofa. And they were selling, and I was like, Mazzy, I'm happy in web, but do you mind if I get into real estate? And he was, we were close. So he was like, yeah, why not? Why don't you jump on board? So I did it, and I jumped on board. And to be honest, and this is going back to talking about whatever you have, do it yourself, because there was only 2 other colleagues in the industry, and back then, Mazen didn't really have a clue that much in real estate.
He was a web guy.
Yeah, he was a web guy. His girlfriend did. She was pretty good. But I don't know, I went in and I learned everything myself. Yeah, we were getting leads, but I had to learn a lot of things myself. At that time, even the developer didn't have even proper contracts. We were editing contracts, me and my colleagues, how to make it look good in order to get people to sign it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And people don't really, they come here, in my office, we have everything sorted out, ready for the photographer, people that write the content for you, emailers prepared, templates, SMSs done on your behalf, marketing, lead generation, done everything for you.
Man,
I had to do that all myself.
I think of you, when I said earlier at the intro, I think of hustle, I think of you, because I really admire the fact that I noticed it from the first couple of times when I met you, a decade ago, was, man, this guy's got an I'll figure it out attitude. I might not know what the hell is going on, but I'll figure it out. And just when you were saying this, you just figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, that's what you got to do. So
you were figuring it out.
Yeah, we were figuring it out. I did pretty well. I really enjoyed it, made a lot of money. And then at that time, I wanted to come, because Mazen inspired me to become an entrepreneur or a businessman. So I actually really wanted to open my own company.
I mean, it opened a new world for you.
Yeah, it opened a new. I mean, I was always motivated my whole life, and I always knew that one day I would have my own business.
Yeah.
And I think that was due to the fact my father had his own business. So I think it would have carried on in me. So when I met him, he inspired me even more that you can do it at such a young age.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that really pushed me more. And you know, me and him are very close. Even though I left him and I opened Provident, you would think, he'd be upset with me. Actually, no.
Great mentors never.
Do you know what I mean? He,
Yes.
you know, he inspired me, helped me out, and all that kind of stuff. And I want to talk to him about him later on, by the way. But anyway,
Please, we should.
so I opened Provident in August 2008. August 2016, August 2008, I got the license.
How old were you?
That's 24, man.
Wow.
This is why sometimes I laugh about when people are at 24 doing nothing in their life. I'm like, I opened a company at 24, do you know what I mean? Like, but back then, to be honest, I didn't feel that I was young. These feelings like, was I young? Was I scared? Was I fearful? I don't know. I don't know if it was age, but I didn't feel anything. I just felt excitement, and I felt I'm going to succeed no matter what the hell I'm going to do.
You were focused.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Not only the focus is that, you know, a lot of people that start something, there's that fear factor. Is it going to succeed?
Yes.
Am I going to work? Am I going to fail? Am I going to lose my money? Am I going to that?
Perhaps you're oblivious to a lot of
Maybe, and that could have been a good thing, you know. Maybe I was oblivious, you know, to it all. But I did it. Okay, did I succeed? I'll tell you, the journey to success.
Oh, it's filled with it, man.
If not like this, and then like that, and then like this.
Yeah, 100%. It's just a good reminder.
Yeah. But you know what? It's good that it brings you back to reality.
Yeah.
And makes you think sometimes of what is important and what's not. These little dips. There's a period in time I lost a lot of money. I did like a bad business venture. I lost a lot of money. And I was like, instead of being all upset, I was like, God, thank you.
Yes.
Because at that time I was doing so well that I became a bit arrogant and I was partying, popping champagne, doing that, doing this and all that kind of stuff. And I think I was going the wrong direction. And I think it was like, boom, tap in there, get back, be humble.
Yes.
Be who you are. You know,
And
that's
really
not
good
really
that you
you.
took out of it. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, thank you, God. Please give it back. You know what I mean?
That was a hard slap.
Yeah, thank you, but you know, we need to make it back now.
No, well thought out. Hey, I want to ask you about failures, but what was your biggest failure prior to Provident? Because as you grow in success, perhaps the level of failures also change.
Look, I don't think there's any major failure. There's a lot of failures, and I wouldn't say all of them, not only failures, but there's hurdles.
Yes.
And there's loads of hurdles and little hurdles. Some people, the problem with people is that there's a small hurdle, they make it into a mountain.
Yeah.
And I think that's an issue in anything that you're doing in life, not in just being an entrepreneur or a businessman, in life in general. Life is a hurdle.
Man,
It's not smooth sailing.
I had a hurdle getting to your office.
There you go.
I just changed the roundabout into a one-way
Correct.
street. We were 15 minutes later.
There you go. You could have said, I'm not going now to meet him
Yeah.
anymore. You know?
Reroute.
Correct.
Yeah.
You see, and that's the problem with a lot of people is that every little hurdle, they create like a big mountain out of it, and they create that stress and depression to them. But that's life, man.
Yeah.
Life, business, whatever you're going to be doing is all hurdles. I mean, some people call it failures. There's failures,
Yeah.
hurdles, and everything. Even your marriage.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's marriage is smooth sailing.
Never.
Yeah?
Never.
So it's the same thing in everything. You just got to, sometimes like move from it and move on. Now, have I had many hurdles? I've got, probably, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I think I've had more hurdles than anyone else.
Sure.
You move on.
Yeah. But it's just that simple shift in thinking where failure is seen as a block by some people,
Yeah.
whereas a hurdle is just something you
Correct.
realize I got to go over.
Exactly. 100%.
Awesome. So
So-
you,
Sorry, man, I just had
please
something
ask. Yeah.
because it's really interesting what you did from the experience you had, which reminded me of what Robert Kiyosaki said. It's something along the lines that it's better to know a little bit of a lot of things, and it seems like that's what you did
Yeah.
helped with what was coming from you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. Definitely, I agree.
And the reality is, I mean, it's been said that nothing that you do ever goes to waste, because sometimes people are going, I don't know what I want to do, and I'm like, man, try something, try anything.
I say that all the
Just
time, but I
try.
agree with that
Because
100%.
hey, make it a cup, not for me. Okay, but now you know how to make a cup and you're clear. That's not for you. Play on the laptop, not for me. Okay, but now you still have the skill to type. And
Correct.
play on the laptop. That's not for you. And just by the process of elimination, sooner or later you're gonna see what you gravitate to, what your
Absolutely.
strength is, what builds on it.
going back, like starting a business, about when we're talking about the fear factor, and this is something that I've learned. And I've had many other businesses, and I've had businesses that I've shut down besides the business that we spoke about. And what I've learned is that if you want to do something and you determine you want to open something, or you want to have like any business, or you want to do anything, just go and do it. Nothing ever goes according to plan. A lot of people come to you and they'll tell you a business plan, and they will give you like, oh, we're going to make this much money this year. Let me tell you something. It's good to have that, because it gives you the foundation, map, guideline to where you're going to go.
A general direction.
A general direction. But I'll tell you one thing. They never go to according to plan. They all get diverted, and that's fine.
Yes.
You might start a business selling, I don't know what, ice, and it ends up being you selling water later on. But if you didn't start, you wouldn't have figured out that water would have been more profitable for you than ice, for example.
Yes.
So take that journey and you'll figure out yourself. And even in my business, say Provident is a real estate brokerage company. But throughout the years, we've changed and adapted to the changes in the market, where we've changed our business model. And some parts of the business where I used to make a lot of money, I make less money today, and I make more money in different parts of my business. And I've had to adapt to that. So this is where the changes happen in the market, and you need to adapt to it, which is fine. That's all businesses like that. So if you have a good business plan, go put it.
Action
it, and then you will figure out your way. It's like a kid jumping in the water, you'll figure out how you're going to swim.
And
go do it.
And
don't be scared.
When you started a business and it didn't work out and you decided to stop.
You know what? Okay, I'll tell you something. The businesses that you can say failed, but I wouldn't call them failures. I'll say I stopped them or I sold it. Like I had a maintenance company. I sold it. I'll be honest. Was it making money? Was breaking even sometimes making money? Why did I sell it or get rid of it? I wasn't putting my time into it. If I put my time into it, it would have been a successful business.
Sure.
But I knew the money that I'll be making from it, the value of my time, because I value my time as X, Y, Z. And I felt whatever time I'm putting into this, I'm not getting the return that I believe I deserve.
Sure.
I'd rather do something else that will get me the value I deserve. And that happened with, I had an event company, same thing. It was doing well, but I shut it down with my partner because the returns of our time that we put into it wasn't the value that I wanted. And I get a lot of people with great business ideas, and I look at a business idea and I'm like, am I getting a return on my time? Is it something that I want to put time into it and see my return? So a lot of business ideas, you can do a lot of things to make money, but is the return is what you value yourself. And that is an important thing I believe people need to think about.
So that's a critical factor. And once you answer that question as a yes or a no, and if the answer is no, how long does it take you to go, that's it?
Look, some people get emotionally attached to their companies or their businesses.
Worst thing you could do in business.
Absolutely. If you feel that, it's not making money and you've lost hope and all the doors have closed upon you, but the most importantly is if you lose your drive, then let it go. Okay? Some people tell you, but I spent so much time on it, years and years. Trust me, let it go. You're going to do something different that will make you a lot more money and make you a lot happier. End of the day, you need to be doing something that you enjoy, you're happy, that you wake up in the morning and you like, I'm excited to go to work. I'm excited to go for my meeting. I feel like that, and that's what made me successful. If I woke up every day and said, hell, what am I doing today?
No way you had the same level of success. No way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, these are very simple things, but people forget it. And some people are just stuck in their job, and they're like in a miserable job. Let it go. Move on.
Yes. So if we go back to 2008, you started Provident. How did you build Provident to what it is? Perhaps you can start by telling us, where are you today with Provident, your size and what you guys do? And then if you can take us back and...
Okay, like today Provident, we're combined everyone between staff, agents, property management and all of that. We're approximately almost 100 people. We've taken a floor in Al-Basha. Today we're really focused on developer stock, so we're one of the top agencies for MR, Miras, DP. Of course, we have a resale department, leasing, property management. I also own a mortgage company, which is kind of a cross-sell. The holiday home company also, a lot of our clients are not renting their properties or getting the ROI they want. We're passing them on into holiday home concept. And we have a kind of a packages way we work, which is a bit different. We can discuss it some other time, which is kind of unique. And they're all working together. So it's like 3 different licenses, but in a way they're working together. You know what I mean? I even have separate books for it, obviously to maintain, to see what the performance of each company. But there's a lot of interlinking and synergy between all the companies. And they're the ones I've kept and I've been focusing on the most because it's what I enjoy, what I like, and what I know best.
Yes.
Like we were talking before, I had a lot of businesses I shut down because I never put the time into them.
Yes.
If I did, I would have made them successful, but I felt, one, I didn't really enjoy them. Two, I didn't think they were giving me the return of my time in financial ways, what I really wanted. So that's why I let them go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when you started, can you take us through the journey? Because
Yeah.
there will be people who will watch this or they're listening to it,
Yeah.
and they might be in your position in 2008 where they're going, I want to set up a business, whether it's real estate or
I know, I'll tell you something, I'm not longer, like, I'll be honest with you, setting up a business for me is so 1990s.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's not about having a business or an owner of a company. An entrepreneur could be anyone right now. You don't have to have a corporation of 100 people, 50 people, or 20 people. You can be a
Yes.
corporation of 3, 4 people making more money than 100 people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Plenty
You
of
can-
examples.
Yeah, and there's plenty of examples of people that are using Instagram, Facebook, where they create products, are selling it online digitally, making a lot of money, and he's a one-man show. So entrepreneurship today, or in this new generation, is really different to what we grew up upon. I grew up upon my family. Set up a business, that's an entrepreneur. I think that's completely changed.
Yes.
You don't have to have a business to be an entrepreneur. You can be an investor, make money, invest in stocks, invest in properties, invest in different things, invested in Bitcoin back like 5 years ago. You could have done a lot of things to become an entrepreneur and an investor.
Yeah.
So it's no longer that you have to be focused saying, I want to create a business to be an entrepreneur. That era's gone. I think it's changed. We're in a new era today. So for me, if you're going to ask me my next venture, and there will be other ventures,
Sure.
and I am working on something too right now, I don't think it will be another business.
Okay.
It will be something completely different. Do you know what I mean?
So then what, I like how you've put it because it's true. And I'm thinking of the many Instagram businesses I've seen in different countries where friends have shown it to me.
Mhm.
And they show me how this person, for example, is selling jewelry or
Correct.
they're selling fruit
Yeah, whatever.
with, like say a watermelon that's shaped in different designs and what have you. They don't have a website.
Mhm.
They don't have anything. They just have Instagram,
Correct.
a phone number, and they're killing it.
Correct.
Killing it.
And that's an entrepreneur. So these are the new age entrepreneurs nowadays.
So whatever you go into, your next venture, or if you were to, give advice to someone who's looking at doing something in any fields, is there some critical things that you think about before you start a venture?
Mhm.
And perhaps your decision-making process and things that you know is a must in order for it to have a chance of succeeding?
Okay, I mean, when you have an idea, you evaluate, is it going to be financially feasible? Is it going to make you a return of your time? A lot of businesses, especially these Insta businesses, you might not make money for 6 months, for a year, and you're grinding your ass to get it to make you money. But if you're enjoying it and you're loving it, do it. You will get there. It's like an artist, someone who's an artist like Van Gogh or whatever. When they started drawing their art, no one was buying anything of them. They didn't make money for like, I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they blew up. Same with all the different types of new entrepreneurs also. So people have to be determined and they shouldn't give up. If they're happy with what they're doing and they foresee the future, what the capabilities it has, continue doing it, it will come up. And if you have a passion for anything, fishing, cooking, you like to cook, that's your passion, do your stories, do your book, do a PDF, do a video, do a program, do whatever you want. You can make money out of it, So whatever passion you have, follow that route, I believe. Because if you're enjoying what you're doing, you're going to put a lot of time and you're going to learn. Yeah, there are going to be hurdles. Is there people that are successful overnight? There is. They're very few.
Very few.
Very, very few. But the problem with a lot of people is that that's all they want.
Yes.
They want that 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, I create a business and boom.
This is
I've made a lot of
maybe
money.
It's a marathon.
Yeah, it's a long marathon
Yeah.
too. Some people think, yeah, I can do it in a few months. There's a very, very small portion. I mean, it's like winning the lottery.
Yes.
That's how small it is.
Yes.
And you shouldn't think about any business that way. And if you do, you're going to fail.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the key things when people say, hey, how do I know if I love what I'm doing? It's a simple thing. I either read it, I can't remember now because we're inundated with information. I read it or I saw it somewhere and the person said, if you wake up at 3 in the morning and they're shaking you straight out of your sleep and you have to go and do the work and you can do it and you're happy about doing it,
Yeah.
you know you're loving it.
Exactly.
And I thought to myself, I really like what I do because I've cancelled dates, I've cancelled relaxation time, I've cancelled family time. I have no shame in saying it. It's just the reality of it. I love what I do.
Absolutely.
It literally goes to the top of the list.
Yeah.
3 in the morning. Would I even do it for free? I would. but I will not do it for free because they pay me pretty well for it. But I love it that much.
Yeah. I mean, look, I work sometimes, I finish work from here, I go back and I'm doing the work.
Yes.
And I don't feel so, I'm enjoying it. I'm doing research, I'm playing around, doing different things. And I like to learn about a lot of things, like, I love reading.
Yes.
Okay, I haven't had that much time to put my time in reading, but I've downloaded this app called Linkless. I don't know if you've heard
Yes,
about
that's
it.
right. Yes.
It shortens all the books, and I'm like, wow.
Just
Some
7
books
minutes.
I bought some books, they're on my shelf, I haven't read, yeah, because I haven't had the time. So when I went on that Linkless, I got it, and I started listening to it. Sometimes in the office, I put it here, and I listen to it. I have this little speaker connected to the phone, and I'm listening to it while I'm doing my work. And if I hear something, oh, that's interesting. And that's helped me, like, shorten, because I'm short on time.
Yes.
It's helped me, like, add to my time in a way, kind of thing, by learning these kind of stuff. And I subscribe to different, like, podcasts, different courses. I've done a course on photography. I did a course, not just photography, how to take pictures on the iPhone. And you would think that there's not much to learn. Well, I'll give you that course. There's so many things. I learned about the grids, you know, the grid, the 3 grids. I didn't know about that. I mean, you might know about that. You might know. I didn't know about the grids, you know what I mean? Or if you see something beautiful, instead of taking it like on an eye view, you go down on the bottom and you take a picture. It creates kind of more emotional touch to the image or whatever that you're taking. And I like learning that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Am I going to go become a photographer? No, but I would like to take nice pictures on my phone.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've done a course on like how to do Facebook advertising. Do you know what I mean? I've done a course on how to do Google AdWords. I've done courses how to do SEO. Are they part of my business? Yes, but I'm not 100% on it. But I want to know enough about it that when I'm talking to someone in my office and I'm telling them what to do, at least I know where to guide them. Because it's happened to me a lot of times. He'll tell me, and I've had it. Like my programmers, we build a lot of sites for real estate. He's like, you can't do it. It's impossible. I'm like, buddy, I read it somewhere it can be done, and that site has already done it. So your job is to figure out how it's done, and never ever tell me again it cannot be done.
Yeah.
Because it can be done. Do you know what I mean?
I also realized this a few years ago, that the quality of the answers you get comes down to the quality of questions you ask.
Yeah.
And if you're knowledgeable in that subject, let's say, for example, I also did YouTube advertising. I took a course purely because I was interested not to do it. It's not my thing.
Correct.
I don't want to look at stats. Like, I just want the result.
Correct.
But by me understanding it, when I was going through providers, I knew who was talking shit.
Correct.
I knew who was onto it.
Correct.
But that required me to be educated. And the more educated I am, the better help I get.
Absolutely. 100%.
And it's really interesting that this is the thing. It's all self. It's all you. No one's telling you to do this.
Yeah.
You're a guy who owns a business, who has over 100 employees, who has numerous businesses, who, it took me a long time to get you sitting here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And yet, you put it on yourself to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
To make the time.
Yeah.
Not, I don't have time. You make the time.
And I made the time at home because in the office or the working time, I didn't have that time. So I would go home and do it at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe if you want to succeed in whatever you're doing, you need to do this. I mean, work doesn't sleep. You need to do it, and you need to enjoy what you're doing, obviously.
Listen, gems. Tech, since you touched on it. Since you touched on the technology and Facebook ads, Google ads, back in 2008,
Going back, yeah.
I think you were, if not the first, you were one of the first few, I'd like to say a handful of real estate companies that actually went online and maximized online.
Absolutely, yeah.
Presence through SEO.
Because going back to Amazon and Cacti Media, and that was a focus when I opened Provident. Most companies would be advertising in Freehold. Back-end Freehold, which is Gulf News, which is a section for the real estate.
That's right.
It used to be this.
That's right, I remember.
And everyone would be going through it and looking through, whatever listings there were, and this is how people used to sell. So when I got into real estate, the first thing I did was develop Provident Estate website, and I SEO'd it to the max. Back then it was a lot easier to SEO it. Now it's
We're talking about the days when no one was doing it.
Correct. So now it's a lot harder. Even if you're ranking, you're dropping, it's up and down. But back then it was. So what I did also, not only in Provident, I started buying domain names of specific locations.
That's right.
JLT, Dubai Marina, JBR, Business Bay, downtown.
I would search Jumeirah Islands and
Correct.
there you were.
There you go.
He's everywhere.
So we created different sites for different locations and we would optimize them. So when someone's searching JLT, he'll go to our JLT website and go and contact us, and we would go and sell them a property or lease them a property. So our model was a bit different, and we were doing also a bit of PPC, but not so much at that time. Is PPC, pay-per-click advertising,
right,
SEO, doing mailers and all that kind of stuff.
But I think you dominated because you had first movers advantage.
Correct. Right now, this area is kind of saturated.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, we are still in the top, but nowhere near where we were because your competition caught on and they started doing it. And this reminds you also that you need to adapt to the changes.
Yes.
And keep on changing to the market conditions or wherever it's going. If you did something you were successful 4 or 5 years ago,
You can.
keep doing and not only as a business and anything you do, even my ages when I talk to them, sometimes they keep on working the same way they worked a long time ago. I'm like, you need to adapt to the changes.
Yeah.
You need to be doing something else.
Get inspired.
Imagine if you could present yourself, your thoughts, and your ideas with clarity and confidence. Imagine if you could speak to influence and impact. Imagine if you could communicate like a commanding and charismatic leader. Well, you can, given the right information and the investment of effort from your end. How do I know that? As a public speaking coach, I work with CEOs, world leaders, and presidents. And when they hire me, they expect nothing short of results. And over the years, it's been 2 decades now, 2 challenges have risen for me being unable to help the majority of people. I'm usually on a plane, with the majority of my time being booked a good year or 2 in advance. And my one-on-one session to work with someone in person generally starts at $20,000. So we solved the problem by making my public speaking course available for you online. Everything that I teach my clients when I'm working one-on-one, thoughts, tips, strategies, how to do things, all on video, all sequenced in the right order for you to be able to watch, rewatch, practice, and refine your presentation, your speaking, and your overall communication skills. And guess what? You will get results. Now, you can have this course not for the $20,000 that my clients pay me when we work one-on-one. You can have it for $997. That's right, just $997. You might be thinking, well, why are you offering something that you charge $20,000 for $997? It's simple, because those who want to work with me one-on-one will still hire me. But for many whom I might be out of their budget, this is a great way to develop their communication skills, to cut through the noise, to rise above the rest, and to beat their competition. If you're serious about wanting to develop your skills, to be able to present your thoughts, your ideas, and yourself with clarity and confidence, to be able to speak, to influence and impact, and to communicate like a confident and charismatic leader, then this course is for you. Go on to kevinabdulrahman.org/course and get started today.
When was the last time you pivoted and you made a change?
Right, man. Look, changes and modifications to the business is a consistent process. But when you're talking about major changes, I would say, because Dubai is a very dynamic city, I would say every couple of years, there is some changes that you need to change. Like in off-plan, we're really focused on off-plan, and we do a lot of Facebook advertising, Instagram, and we do a lot of lead gen. Go back 3 years ago, I remember we started on Facebook and Insta lead gen, but the kind of leads that you were getting were actually not inquiries. It was someone looking for a job, someone clicked it accidentally, or was some laborer guy that
Hello,
didn't speak
sir.
English, or hello, sir. So the leads were like horrendous, but we never gave up, and Facebook never gave up. You know, they kept on modifying their algorithm until they perfected it, and genuinely today, I would say, we get genuinely really, really good results from advertising on Facebook and Instagram. So as the market changes, even the way we market is different, even digital, you know. Like back then, digital was like YouTube. Like you were advertising, it's like YouTube, PPC. Today you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got Twitter, Snapchat, and they all have different audiences.
That's right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And even, for example, if you're targeting different countries, Twitter works better in Saudi and Snapchat than Facebook, for example. In China, you got WeChat and different names also, even the search.
Yeah, Yandex for Russia. For
Yeah.
example,
And you know, we also, when we're doing our marketing, depending on that niche audience that we're targeting, we will kind of focus and figure out what platforms they're using in different countries, and we'll do the marketing this way.
Mhm.
So this is part of that, and you need to be updated of the changes, you know, of what's happening. And also the techniques, Facebook algorithm and the way it's done. Like, we spend a lot of money on Facebook, and I'm always trying to figure out how to get better quality leads at a lower cost.
Yes.
And their algorithm changes also every 6 months. Like, I'll be targeting interest, now I have to do interest behavior,
Sure.
plus ages, plus even the ad copy now makes a big difference. Do you get what I mean? And we really focus on the messaging of the ad in order for someone really to grab get the lead. And then you have different campaigns. So you have a web conversion campaign, which means clicks an ad, lands on a website, and then makes an inquiry. Then you have a lead gen campaign where he clicks it, his details are there, makes an inquiry. And then you kind of check which ones are better quality leads, which campaigns are better, and you keep on working on modifying it.
You got to change, man. You got to change. I mean, to give you an example, I remember that I was late to the game, but we started doing PPC for my work in terms of if you have an event, you're looking for a motivational speaker, then everyone started doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, one second, if we keep on doing this, we're just fighting the same fight over the same slice of pie, and that's where we elevated the game and we go, hey, we're not even going to play this game. We're going to play it at a different level where we create great content. And we make sure that the experience is 110%, so that then they start inquiring us. And now when I get the inquiries, as a speaker, I mean, today I'm blessed, but when I get the inquiry, it's not a tender. It's, we want Kevin, and then we say if the date is available or not, at a far higher price bracket.
And this is actually what we're seeing today too, that people are not into reading blogs as much as before.
Right.
They're more content, like video content driven.
It is, yes.
Do you get what I mean? And what you're doing is the right thing. And we, as you saw, that we had a studio, a green room in our office, is that we're planning to do a lot of podcasts, create a lot of videos, educational videos about the market, about the different projects are for sale, about the laws and regulations, the changes in Dubai, because Dubai also laws and real estate changes now.
Sure.
You got the new visa laws. If you buy 1 million property, you get this visa. If you buy this much X property value, you're getting this visa for your family members. So people need to be educated. And sometimes we make a lot of assumptions on people that they're educated enough about the market. Sometimes they're not. Like, we manage stands in the mall. And we met clients, because I went to the stand again, talk about micromanagement. I went to the stands with the brokers to find out what's going on, and I would be talking to people. And some people ask, I didn't know Dubai was freehold, that you could buy as a foreign owner a property in Dubai. And the guy was British.
You'd be surprised. Yeah.
And I got really surprised that a British person, I would have thought, knew a lot about Dubai. So we are also creating content, educational content for our business for these people. Because when you give them that, you're giving something, you're gaining credibility back too, and trust. And they want to deal with you a lot more.
Absolutely. What we'll actually do is when the podcast goes up, you've got your links to the videos and educational material, we'll actually place it as well in the video that you're watching, or also in the podcast links. We'll make sure that it's updated as they come on. No, 100%. So you listen to books on Blinkist. What would be a book that
and your audiobook.
An audiobook. So what would be a book that you listen to more than once, and for what reason?
Look, there's many, many books. And I'll tell you something that's very funny, because I've had this discussion. I have a lot of, if you come to my house, you find a lot of books.
Right.
I don't read them all.
That's right.
And I don't even read them from beginning to end. And I learned that. Like when I was younger, I would read the book. I'm a slow reader. I'm kind of dyslexic, by the way. So I'm a slow reader. I need sometimes to read things twice to really comprehend it. So for me, I'll go through the chapters I feel are important to me that I would learn, and I'll read and I'll skip through. Maybe am I missing out on something? Probably. But I find that for me, that's how I can learn faster, because you're limited on your time. I cannot sit down every day or every week and spend 3, 4, 5 hours in that time to read a book. Some people have more time, leisure, they're maybe a bit more organized than me in their timing.
They enjoy reading.
I enjoy reading, but it takes me long to read. So I would read the books slowly. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll skip a lot of stuff. I'll just go to the important. I'll tell you a book that's interesting, that's wide variety, is The 48 Laws of Power. That's one book that that's probably one book I've read over and over many times. Why? Because I always have it with me. If I'm going beach or whatever, I don't go read it from like bottom to whatever. I'll just go to the different chapters that are entertaining or interesting, and I'll read that. Because he'll tell you a strategy, a law of a power, and then he'll go back and tell you a story that happened that,
that really drives the message home.
Correct.
Yes.
And I like that because it gives you a wide variety of different knowledge aspects.
It's a great book. It's a great book. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's probably one of them. I mean, I read a lot of like sales books, sales technique books. Like Tim Ferriss's great books. He has some great stuff.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different writers. I've read Grant Cardone's books too. It's a lot of stuff.
You met with Grant Cardone.
Yeah, I have. Great guy.
What lesson did you learn from him? Meeting face to face.
I mean, look.
Well, was there a time to have a conversation?
Yeah, we had a little conversation. I liked him a lot. He's a character. To be honest, meeting him, you know, I always saw him when I was young, because I actually had his course.
Right.
And his course video, I don't know if you've ever watched it, it's very old. It was like 90s dresses, big suit and all that kind of stuff.
He's got like a library of.
Yeah, library. So if you look at his old library, like you'd see like, what the hell, you know, but it's great content and he's very, very good. But when I met him, I had him up here. I still have him up here. But when you meet him, you just realize this is just a normal human being at the end of the day. And he's not any better than you. If you practice and you like motivate and you want to work, you can be just as good as him.
Yeah.
That's what you learn by seeing these kind of people. Do you know what I mean? You see he's humble, he's a nice guy, he's a smart guy, he's a hustler, he does all this stuff.
If he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at him like, sorry, Grant, but so why are you any better than me? That's what you should be asking yourself. You know what I mean? I can be as good as you. And look at him. He's like 50-something, by the way.
I respect you. I think
he looks
in
young.
His best shape ever.
Yeah, but look how long it's taken him.
Mm-hmm.
So some people also look at their age and they're like, I'm old now. No, buddy. Okay?
You can do it.
You can still do
Hey,
it.
Colonel Sanders was 66.
Yeah, there
right?
you go.
The rest
Exactly.
Yeah.
KFC.
Get inspired.
You know this by now, that we are the #1 YouTube show / podcast that's coming out of the Middle East from Dubai. If you like the idea of having your brand reach at least 1 million eyeballs per episode, then feel free to reach out to my office on kevinabdulrahman.org. Without further delay, let's continue this great conversation.
And the great thing about it, I was talking to a group of entrepreneurs, and I was telling them that we live in a world where it no longer is, speaking of the old times where you would set up a business and that was the way to be called an entrepreneur. And then if you remember, a standard business would take 3 years to break even and blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Who said?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even today, even 5 years ago was set up a website for your business and then you will SEO it and then in 6 months or in 12 months you will rank to the top. Heard of Google AdWords? You pay $15 right now.
Correct.
5 minutes later, you're right at the top.
Agreed.
So things have completely changed.
Absolutely. Big time.
You mentioned, that fear factor, not having that fear.
Yeah.
So we're in 2008. You've set it up. The fearless leader that you are.
Yeah.
I might not know the way, but I'll make the way.
Yeah. So at that time, I didn't have fear, maybe because I was young, what we were saying. And I didn't fear, and I knew I was going to do it. When I opened the company, I was like, yeah, this is the start of the best journey of my life. It's only going to be great, It's only going to be there, Of course, there was hundreds and thousands of hurdles and failures to get where we are today. But it was an enjoyment, and because I was focused on digital, PPC, SEO, building sites, we did good business. And I remember when I hired my first employee, her name was Princess. She used to actually work from my villa in Barsha. She's come to my house and worked from there till because we got the license, we rented the office, but we were still, fixing and doing the interior. So we weren't ready to move in. And she was my first admin. Then I hired a guy called Dan. He's a great agent. He was my first agent. And we're still very close friends, me and him. I mean, he's one of the type of guys, he's done a lot of money throughout the years. And all he does, he travels all around, comes back to Dubai, does a couple of real estate deals, travels again, does a lot of real estate deals.
That's the lifestyle he wants, yeah.
He's happy.
Nice.
So good for him. So he was my first agent, and I bump into him from time to time. Sometimes he comes here and say hello to me. And I'm always like, my first agent, my first agent, my first agent. And Princess was my first admin girl. So we used to work from home. And she helped me putting things in, and actually talking about technology, we built the first CRM. Okay. So actually when I was a broker, we used to work in Excel files. So I worked in building a CRM, which I got a bit of it from Mazen, from Cacti Media, actually. So I built a CRM, and when I went to we went to Property Finder to Bizzle, you had to manually put it. So when I spoke to them, guys, I don't want to manually upload listings to your website. They're like, yeah, XML. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I have an XML, I can feed it to you, and then automatically my listings can go on your portal. And that will save you a lot of time and save me a lot of time. And that's how it started also with the portals. So we were one of the first 10 companies that started listing up portals back in the days. So that was quite a strong thing.
Yeah, what is today the norm? Back in the days, yeah.
But even portals, for me, to be honest, they've lived their journey. But I truly believe there is some changes are happening, and I think that will change throughout time. You can't see it now, but it will go.
I mean, all our behaviors, the way we consume information, everything's changed.
Yeah, exactly. For me, when it comes for lead gen for off-plan projects, I don't use portals. I use Instagram and Facebook to generate, Twitter and Snap and all that to generate our leads.
Interesting.
So that's a change also. Who would have thought that 5 years ago,
And so, can you take us through some of the highs and the lows?
Look, there's been many of them. Like, you know, when I started the company, the market crashed in September 2008. Well, no, they didn't crash 2008. It was the Lehman Brothers when it announced.
That was September?
That was September 2008.
I remember January 2009 was like...
Correct. So I've only been a couple of months in the business, and that happened. So it was a great struggle, and at that time, the market just went quiet. I mean, there was a recession in the world before that, but it took like a year and a half
to come to Dubai.
And when it came to Dubai, it hit it really, really hard. That period, because as an agent, I had made a lot of money, and I used that money to build a company. Well, I was just spending money, and I wasn't making enough return or deals in order to cover my expenses. So I struggled a lot, and I went through so much during that time. And before the camera went on, we were discussing that. I even slept in maids' rooms. I've even slept in a maid's room where my friends had left, and the deal was off, and it was summertime, 2009, and I was in a maid's room in the middle of summer, and I'd go shower in the pool, JBR pool, because it was a JBR apartment, and go to work. I mean, it was tough.
Yeah.
And I've been through many different scenarios, and I'll be honest with you, even during that time, I found out my father had cancer, and he was sick. Do you know what I mean? And he passed away a year later. He didn't even survive a year. But rest his soul. So for me, that was really, really hard times, going through this financial crisis, and my father was a big figure in my life. He wasn't like my friend figure, he was a father figure, a leader figure. And for me, him being sick at that time was really, really tough. And I think that for me was one of the hardest things, because I used to always call him to get advice. And after he passed away, it was that thing that was missing, that vacuum. Who am I going to pull? You know what I mean? So that was one of my tough moments.
That's difficult, man.
Yeah.
I
cried many times.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I shared this with you, but my father passed away in 2004.
So.
God rest his soul. And but for me, he was actually my best friend.
Yeah.
And when I lost him, to this very day, I was telling a friend of mine actually just last week that the last few times that I've cried have always been because of my dad.
Same here.
And for me, it was I didn't spend enough time with him, and I regret, to this very day, I still regret not spending that time with him. So it's a combination of missing him, the anger, and what have you. But I've learned to channel it over the years to go, hey, okay, we only live once, and everyone's time is really limited. You better take care of your mom and spend time with her.
Absolutely, and that's what I focus on my mom right now, actually.
Yeah.
Spending time with her, let her enjoy life and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he was actually one of my driving force. I've always wanted him to be proud of me. And that was like the thing when I didn't work. I worked for him for a bit and I left. And I felt I always wanted to show him I can do it. I remember when I came over here and I needed money in order, like when I first moved to Dubai, I'm like, Dad, I need money to find an apartment, do this. And he's like, you decided to go do your own thing and you figure out yourself to do it. Do you know what I mean? And always I wanted to prove to him that I can do it. But it wasn't like that to to say, look, I done it and you don't believe in me. To make him proud of me, and that I feel he was proud of me, but I never managed, because he passed away in 2010. And that was the time I actually took off most, because after all the struggles, the market was pretty bad. The market was starting to regain between 2010 to 11. He had already passed away, so he didn't really see my success come about, but I'm sure he knew it was going to come one time.
Yeah. He's watching you, man. Spirits, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure he'd be super proud of you.
No, I know. And that's the thing that I now kind of like do it for my mother. That's next.
Yeah.
And that's like the driving force.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so you built this, and before we started recording, you shared that you had made a couple of bad business decisions.
Yeah.
We don't need to go into them. But what I'd like to, perhaps if you could share, because sometimes we forget, like you said, when we meet our heroes, we realize, hey, they're just like me.
Yeah.
If they can do it, I can do it. And you, no doubt, are a hero for a lot of people.
Thanks.
And I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean, I admire you, because I think
I admire you, and I've got loads of heroes myself.
Yeah. And the reality is, we sometimes forget that they have struggles.
Yeah, absolutely.
That they make bad decisions, or decisions that doesn't work out. And some of us, we dwell on the bad decisions we make. So if I make a bad decision, I'll dwell on it for 6 years. I struggle to believe that you would. Like, if you make a bad decision, what's your...
Move on quickly, as fast as you can. The faster you can, the better. There's no point dwelling on things. If you dwell, you can't move forward. I mean, you were telling me about something before, and I used that same kind of verse. Horses,
Yes.
you know, they call them blinders,
Blinkers,
whatever. Yeah, they're supposed to be running straight.
Blinders, maybe, actually.
Yeah, I think they were blinded, so
Yeah.
they're supposed to be running straight. Imagine a horse, if he's running and he uses his neck to turn around, what's going to happen to him? He's going to trip up and fall. He ain't going to win the race. Same as us. If we're always looking back, then you're not going to be able to succeed
That's
or
right.
win the race.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I'll tell you something that happened to me also when we're talking about business decisions. I was part in a merger and it was unsuccessful to many different reasons. And one thing I could have done is I could have looked back and said, you know what? These guys did harm upon me, and I'm going to go fight them in battles in the courts and all that. And I discussed it with my brothers, and I was telling him, what should I do? Should I go maybe fight them in courts and all that kind of stuff and get what's rightly mine? He's like, if you do that, you're going to waste so much time in courts, and you might not get what you justly need.
All that energy.
And all that energy being wasted, you're going to lose focus, you're going to lose a lot more money than what you already lost.
Yes.
And I'm like, you're right 100%. And I just kept on focusing, and I recovered very fast from it. But if I went and tried to think about it or try to fight the battles in court, I would have lost a lot of more money and my time, which is even more valuable. And I wouldn't have been able to recover and build the company back if I was doing that.
Yes.
So sometimes these hurdles or these failures, just move on. Learn from them and move on. Don't dwell about them. You can't dwell about the past.
What's interesting as well to me is you didn't let your ego get in the way, because this merger was big news. I was in a different country and I heard about it, and I saw you doing it with your group.
It was the biggest real estate merger at that time in the UAE, Dubai's brokerage agencies.
And what's interesting is still, it didn't work out, whatever the negative situation. Not only did you get the right advice from your brothers and you decided, hey, I'm going to focus forward, but you didn't let your ego get in the way.
Am I going to dwell on what? One, I made a lot of friends. I met a lot of nice people during that period. We were successful in ways. Yeah, we lost a lot of money. It failed at the end. But I learned a lot from it.
Yes.
And that I can take that and move on with it. And the financial loss that I made and the mistakes that I made, it helped me learn a lot of things, and I moved forward. So, like every experience, bad or good, is a good experience. Even though it's a bad experience, it's good that you experienced it for you to kind of continue in your journey of life.
That's right.
Business.
And not make the same mistake again.
Yeah. Even though a lot of us still make many of the same mistakes, because circumstances might be different. But try to learn, But try to learn from your mistakes. What I always advise people, try to even learn of other people's mistakes if you can, because then you can save yourself a lot of time also. Yeah. But regardless, whatever, every scenario and every little thing is very different, and you will 100% go through these hurdles and failures and issues and problems in your life, in your business.
No doubt.
Even if you're very cautious. And some people are too cautious that it hinders them and creates the block or the wall, like you were saying, for them to achieve anything or for them to make financial success.
Absolutely. We all have heroes. We all have inspirational figures that we look up to. We all have and should have mentors. Mm-hmm. Who are some of yours?
I've got quite a lot of mentors in my life that I feel that have inspired me. But there's, of course, my father, my brothers are a big inspiration. My mother's a big inspiration to me, of course. And a lot of other people, but there's one particular person that's probably my business entrepreneurship mentor. His name is Mazen Ilyas. He was the owner of Cat Media that we were talking about, and he was also owner of PRV2. And because he was young and ambitious, and I learned a lot from him when it comes to digital marketing, building websites. So he mentored me on how to kind of open myself and kind of educate myself on sales and entrepreneurship. I always loved reading, and I used to read like biographies, and I'm really into history.
Yes.
So I was more into that before, but when I met him, he got me into that digital world, into the sales-oriented world, and he was a great salesman himself. And he kind of like put me under his shoulder, taking me to meetings, teaching me the ways. And I feel that I learned a lot from him, and his journey in life is quite unique. Like he had a lot to prove to his family, which was similar to me trying to prove to my dad. He was also proving to his father. And he created a successful business called Cat Media. Then he opened a real estate company, made a lot of money during the up of the market. We were selling like properties over the phone that we wouldn't even meet the client to be on. It was crazy back then. So he made a lot of money at that time. And then when the market slowed down, he just packed his bags. He had some scenario issue that happened to him, an accident, and he left the city. And he went traveling around the world. And then he fell in love with a girl, gave out all his money away and started doing charity. And he has a very unique story about him. He's a very spiritual guy. And he's a very content and happy guy. And he will tell you today, like, he's given away all his money. He's given away, like, crazy amount, I don't want to say it, but crazy amount of money. But he's more happier today than he was when he had all his money.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? And that's why a lot of people have to ask themselves, how do you determine success?
Yes.
What is success? A lot of people think about success as financial success. Well, for each I'm not going to define success for you because for everyone is a different term, right?
Yes.
But for me, like, simply it's accomplishment, yeah? And happiness within you. Are you genuinely happy with what you're doing? Are you giving back? You know, you're sleeping in your bed and you're waking up with a smile and you're happy with what you're doing day to day.
Yes.
That's kind of success, your own success.
Yes.
And that's where he is today, and good for him. And I look at him in an aspirational way. I'm not the type of guy that will go and do exactly what he did. He lives kind of like a hippie lifestyle.
But that works for him.
It works for him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he told me, I love his stories. He lives in like a van. And I'm like, buddy, how do you shower? He's like, yeah, I shower like 5 days or a week. And I'm like, I'd love to live in a van, but we need to figure out how I'm going to get a shower every day because I have 2 showers a day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different, huh?
Yeah. So everyone has different aspirations
so
in life.
different, yes.
I'll tell you even a story. I had an agent. His name was Ziad Ilyas. And he's actually the cousin of Mazen Ilyas. And he worked for me in Provident, and he was killing it back in the days. I don't know, you might know him, you might have met him, by the way. And he made a lot of money. He was one of my top agents. He just one day packed his bags, went to Thailand, went on leased some land in a resort in Koh Phangan, okay? And he's like doing like a restaurant stuff and a raves and parties. And he's been there for like, I don't know, 5-6 years now. No care in the world and enjoying life. He's happy.
Yeah.
If that's what makes you happy, good for you.
Yeah.
You know, and he doesn't care about money. I don't know how much money he's got or he doesn't have. But he's been there for like 6-7 years right now, and I don't think he's earning a lot of money. So, but he's
it's
happy.
having that clarity because we're all here for a short time. We don't know how long we're here for. It's having that clarity of going, what's important.
Yeah.
And it's so right that we're not related,
Yeah.
so it's obvious that success would have a different meaning. But what's interesting is even when I look at me and my 2 brothers, we are so different.
Yeah.
The youngest brother's got a family. He's got a certain way about how he's living. The middle brother has his different style, different attitude, different. If we were to define our dreams and our success, we are so different. You would say we're not related.
Yeah.
But that's the truth.
Yeah.
And I feel like people, they don't take enough time to ask that question. If you were dead and your soul was looking at you, are you happy? Because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, why are you doing it?
Correct.
But instead of getting depressed about it, because I asked that question, I wasn't a therapist, I just got to a point where I go, I'll tell you how I got to a point, as we invested in an investment where it required me to actually be active in it. And after about a year, or it was I think 2 years altogether, not only had I lost 500,000, I had spent 2 years of my time and energy and focus. And at the end of it, I'm thinking to myself, this is the worst 2 years of my life from a work perspective and an energy perspective and a field perspective, and I lost $500,000. Now, had I taken that $500,000, taken a one-way trip somewhere, and just worked my way around the world, and at the end of it, I'd be here in the same position with none of that money, man, I'd be so happy.
Absolutely. Definitely.
And at that point, that was a pivotal moment for me to go, Kev, any step you take from now on, you got to ask yourself, are you happy as you're taking the step? If you're not, this is not for you. Do not do it. Don't care about what anyone else says. This is my own self-talk.
Yeah. No, I agree with it 100%. And I feel like that. Always. And I think that way. And that's why the next move I'm going to do or the next project, it's not another business. I'll be honest with you. I've reached successful in business that I want to do something that's not business. Yes, entrepreneurship, but not business as in terms of a company.
Yes.
And we will see what will be coming along.
You're an investor in a few companies. You must have a lot of people come up to you with ideas, if not for your time, asking you for investment. To invest in the company.
You're asking that.
So I'm not asking you for the investment.
I know, but you're asking that. That I get that. Obviously.
100%. I'm sure of it. So if someone comes up to you, or the people that come up to you, what criterias? Again, I'm doing this for someone who's watching or listening to this so that they're aware. If they're looking for funding for their idea at any level, they might ask $25,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 at whatever level they are. what is the criteria that you look for before you choose to make an investment?
Look, there's many things. Definitely, I'll be looking at the personality of the person.
Of the founder or the person?
Yeah, absolutely. Do I know, is he determined in order to go through the journey into making it a success?
And what do you do to find that out? Like, I'm interested.
Look, you have to get in detail and ask him a lot of questions about his personal life and his personality, to be honest, because people are not going to give you these
No,
answers.
because showing off is easy.
Yeah. If you ask the question directly, are you determined to really do it in the next year?
Yes,
of course he's going to say yeah. But you really need to ask him questions and to figure out really about his personality. How is he determined? What is he willing to do? Or like how deep in the trenches is he willing to go to get it to become it's a success? You know what I mean? And you're right. You know, you're telling me a lot of people come up to you with a lot of ideas. I do get a lot of ideas. And when I was younger, I would jump to most of these ideas myself. But as I learned throughout time, you figure out which ones will work and which ones will not. You know, you cannot be 100%, but you kind of like fathom that, okay, this is a good idea. With a bit of money, a bit of direction, a bit of help, it can work out.
I've spoken to some friends who are investors as well in companies, and one of the things that I noticed many of them say is they're like, we invest in the person,
Absolutely.
not the idea.
Yeah.
Because it could be like what you said. They might start off with ice blocks,
Yeah, exactly.
but then they will pivot and end up saying that water is actually the best seller.
Mhm.
But the investment needs to be on the person, because
Correct.
that person is the person who's going to drive that pivot.
Correct. That's why I told you first thing is, you know, the person himself.
Yes.
Because, you know, you invest in people too.
Mm.
Like, I'll be honest with you, like my holiday home company.
Yes.
Actually, my partner is an agent in the office. He came to me like 4 or 5 years ago. He was a broker. He worked his way up. He's very well motivated. He's one of my top agents in the office. And then one day he told me, you know, holiday homes, what do you think about it? I didn't really do any homework about it. So he went and did homework, came up and presented it to me. And I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. He's like, I want to do it. Oh, okay, we'll do it together then.
And what
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, what impressed you, apart from the fact that as a person, you already knew that he's a go-getter,
Yeah.
and he will make it happen. What about that presentation? Because people also fail here at this
Correct.
step. of
He went and
presenting
did
the
his
thoughts.
homework, he did his statistics, he did his analysis, he came up with a plan. Do you know what I mean? And particularly, I knew him as a success story. Not as, sometimes people can be a good broker, but not a successful person.
Yeah.
But he had every aspect in his character to be everything. To be an entrepreneur, to be a salesman, to be a lot of these kind of things, to be an organizer, to be a manager. He had all these kind of things in him to be successful, and that's why I went ahead with it. And that's why he's a partner.
Sure.
I could have actually done the company alone. But I like him, and I liked his approach, and I felt, you know what better than to do it with him. And I enjoy making money with friends, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I don't like making money alone. If I can do something with a friend and make money together, listen, standing up on, you know, whatever, up and cheering for yourself is not fun. But if you're with your friends cheering,
Absolutely.
it's a lot more fun, right? Why not?
A party of one is no fun.
Correct.
Yeah.
So end of the day, we want to make money together. You know, there's a lot of ideas that get thrown around. Going back to your question, and I always evaluate again. For me, if I want to if I get involved, can I help you?
Yeah.
Can I add value to you? And if I'm involved, is my time worth the return? A lot of my business ideas make money, but how much money?
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? If it's making small amount of money, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you do it, and I hope you can grow it, but right, for me, it's not the business.
Sure.
A lot of people think that making money is hard. It's not really that hard. If you really want to make it, you can go make it. But then again, determine what's your return. And when I talk about return, it's always, I'm not talking about my return on my money, return on my time. For me, that's the most important part. Return on my time.
Here's something I want to throw
Yeah.
your way. You're in a place where you can say return on my time.
Yeah.
The problem I'm seeing today with a lot of young folks or people who start out in any venture, in any field, let's say if we focus on the entrepreneurship side of things, let's use my profession because it's just an easy one that I can give you an example on. Motivational speaking. It's taken me 15 years to build. I've been doing this for over 20 years. Really, in the last 5 years, it had taken off. But I see cats coming to the table and they're telling me, Kev, my rate is $10,000. I'm like, said who? Like, are you getting booked $10,000? No. Or I had some people come up to me, I have a booking for $5,000, and I said, no, my rate is $15,000. What?
Yeah. Exactly.
Why aren't you taking the $5,000?
Yeah.
Do you have a booking today? No. Do you have a booking tomorrow? No. Did you have one yesterday? No. Do you have money at the end of the month? No. Who said your rate is $15,000?
Right.
You should be taking 2 cents, 10 cents,
Yeah.
and building it up until you're in a position like yourself to be able to say, hey, now today, my return of investment of time needs to be X, because if it's not, I currently have this kind of return. And so if I'm going to look at something, it needs to be much higher.
Absolutely.
But yet we're having people these days who are...
Kevin, back when the market crashed and there wasn't much sales transactions happening, I was doing rentals. I used to walk to Discovery Gardens to get units and go and put them on portals on my website in order to get people calling me and do rentals, which I'm making 3,000-4,000 dirhams on my commission. I mean, I was doing these small money at the time. You got to do anything to make sometimes money. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now I'm talking about my time because, like you said, 15 years. I've been doing this now 14 years.
Yes.
My value or my time is increasing throughout time. I can't just come out of my mother and say my rate is this.
Yes.
5,000, 10,000. You need to have a profile portfolio. And even if you have a profile portfolio, if the market, you're not in demand at that time, you need to lower your rates or do something else or offer different value.
Yes.
End of the day.
Yes.
You adapt.
I'm going to ask the next question because from the outside, it's easy to go, Loai Al Fakir, life is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just popping.
Mm-hmm.
Life is good. It's all just on the up and up.
Yeah.
It's just, the glam and what have you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with shitty days?
Yeah. I mean, I wish it was all glam and I wish it was all great days to begin with. How do you deal with shitty days? Look, every day maybe you might have something happening in the day. And when you're running different businesses and you're in a business that I'm in, actually real estate, in Dubai particularly, it's a tough industry to be in. It's very competitive, it's very dynamic, competition is tough. And the market right now, as you know, is not the easiest of all time.
Sure.
So when you're talking about shitty days, how you handle it, you have to adapt to it, like to absorb it, take it, and move on. Like, don't think about it, don't dwell on it, and be positive. If something doesn't work, look for the next day, keep on doing whatever you're doing. And I mean, even agents in my office, they might be working on 5 deals, they're excited, they're dreaming, they're going to close this much, this end of the month.
They're already spending it in
They're
the
already
mind.
spending in the money. And that happens to me also in my business. I'm spending whatever they're making, and you're like dreaming about it, and that's going to happen, and you're going to make this much money. And then you don't, or you lose it, or you're in the negative. Or a lot of problems that might happen on day-to-day basis. You just, from time, and I think with experience, because I used to take things to heart, I don't. And I just move on very, very fast, and I look at things positive, and I just keep on going. And sometimes I do my own meditation. Like, a lot of people have their way of meditating, of doing yoga and whatever. I meditate. Sometimes I'll read a book, or I'll play a game. I'm not I don't put a lot of time in PlayStation, but I'll open the PlayStation, play a game for an hour, or play a game on my iPad. And that for me clears my mind of everything and takes me on a different journey. And that is my meditation to kind of relax. Or go to the gym, or go for a jog, or get in your bicycle and go for a drive, or get in your car and go for a drive.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you my best times when I think the best, for example, for me, when I'm in my car and I put the music really loud and a song I like, my brain just opens to the best ideas, and I can have the best conversation with myself, and I feel great at that moment. And I think when you're having shitty times like that, there's a lot of things that you can do to get out. Get busy. Don't think about it too much. And I think sometimes people, I'm saying, don't think about it, but don't think about it, but don't think about it too much. Because sometimes in life you have the answers right in front of you, but you go and study it and do so much, and you come back either to the same thing, or then you get too scared or whatever. Whatever I felt, whatever your gut tells you, or your heart or your brain immediately, is usually the correct answer. The first thing that... The first answer is usually the correct answer, but us, we go round and round asking questions. And some people also I have friends that, if anything happens with him, he did that, he reacted that way, it upset me. Don't be bothered with it. Don't bother your life with the nitty-gritty little things. Move on. He said, she said, he did that, he reacted that way, he didn't pay me on time, or he's avoiding me. You don't know what the hell this other person's going in his life.
Yeah. And when we weren't recording, you said something really good in terms of you can get depressed, you can get stressed out, but is that going to solve anything?
No, at all. This is something also that's very important, is that, if you have a problem, being depressed or stressed out is not going to change the problem. And in fact, it's only going to dig a deeper hole for yourself. So move on from it. And time with all these kind of things is a healer. Like I've had a lot of times that I felt, you know what, if I don't get this done, I'm in big financial trouble. I got myself out from it. And I would say, not once, I would say probably 10, 20 times I got myself out of it. And I wouldn't say that's luck. I'm just thinking that because I'm focused, I know what I do, I plan ahead. If I see a problem arising, I'll try to kind of overcome it beforehand to the changes. And this is why Provident, and if you see a lot of companies in the UAE, especially in real estate, you get these companies opening up 2-3 years and they disappear. They die out. We've been around, we've celebrated our 11 years a couple of months ago. So we've been for a long time. Why? Why did we survive? It's because we adapted to the changes on the market. And of course, did we go on hurdles or financial problems throughout the years? Absolutely. I've had times where I felt that probably I'm going to have to give up on this business or sell it or let it go. But I survived it, all of it. And I'm not the only story like that. I guarantee majority of the business owners go through the same thing I've gone through.
It's just easy to look at someone doing great things and just assume that it's all glam.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we even do, when you're looking at someone's Insta stories and he's living the life and whatever. It's a funny story, actually. I was telling another friend. So I used to have this trainer. He's like a celebrity trainer. He used to train me a long time ago. And I haven't seen him. He's on Instagram. He's got like 150,000 followers. He's always got the cars he's driving, the watches, living the lifestyle, private jets. So I went to one gym different than the gym I normally go to, and I bumped into him. I'm like, hey, bro, how you doing? He's like, how you doing? Long time. I'm like, man, you live in life. You forget about your old friends as a joke. And he looks at me and says a word in Arabic. He goes, bro, I don't have a spoon to feed myself. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, man, that's all fake stuff, man. It's not even my watch, not my car, not my this. So what happens, a lot of us, we see all of that. I'm not saying everyone is fake or everyone's whatever, but they're only showing you the best parts of their lives, or they're showing you little snaps of their glamorous lifestyle. And a lot of us, when you're sitting at home and you're turning and you're looking at it, that kind of depresses you for a little bit. It causes kind of like a depression. Why can't I live that life? But you don't know that your life is great too. Yeah. You're a great, you know? These little things are amazing in you too.
So on this point right here, how do you avoid that distraction? Especially with social media, especially with all this noise that's around. Like, how do you stay focused? How do you avoid these distractions?
I mean, look, you have to be focused, believe in yourself, love yourself, be determined, and don't be jealous from people, or don't be like looking at people and go, I wish I was that. Don't compare yourself.
Yeah.
You're unique. You've got your own story. Everyone's got their own story. I used to do that too also. And I think that caused me stress and depression in the past, is where I would compare myself to other people in the industry or other people that are maybe my friends or whatever. I don't do that anymore. Compare myself to what? That's their journey. That's their story.
That's right.
My story is different. He might be looking at me and saying, I'm jealous from him. Don't be jealous. Don't be envious. Go and say, I'm happy for him. Be inspired and say, I want to be doing something similar, if not better. And my journey, if I'm not there today, I'll be there at another time. That was his journey in life. And then again, you don't know what the issues or the depression or the stress or the problems they're going through themselves. Like I was talking about my old trainer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And there's plenty of them.
A lot of them.
Plenty.
Yeah. I mean, I've got some friends who are billionaires, and I'll be honest with you, they're not happy people. They're not happy.
Billionaires with a B.
Yeah, with a B.
When many assume that the B with the billionaires brings a lot of happiness.
No, not necessarily. Financial success or look, when you have got money, I mean, people joke about it. You get more comfort, you can travel, you can do that, you can do whatever.
You can.
But at the end of the day, you got more bills to pay. You got more issues to pay for. If you got a better car, you got to pay more on it. You got to make more money. You got to cover, if you got a girlfriend, you got to spend more money on her. You got different things, you got to spend more money on it. It's stressful too.
And the key is to know what you want, why you want it, and to make sure that you're not doing it for somebody else.
Yeah.
You want to be a billionaire for your own desire, liking, dream, goal. Excellent, because then you're willing to do whatever it takes to get to it. But unfortunately, there are many multi-millionaires and billionaires whom also I know who are also unhappy, which is funny because these guys are different folks, different countries, different cultures.
Absolutely.
But they built success on someone else's definition.
Yeah, exactly.
I've struggled with a balance which I feel that's important in life and in business, and I'd like to ask you the question. The balance, if you've thought about it or you've found a way to handle it. The
Yeah.
balance of speed and patience.
Yeah. So,
Struggle I had.
Yeah.
Not sure about you.
so for me, I've learned some things you got to be patient on, even though I'm a very impatient guy. So
Yeah.
always, when I'm asking to do things, I want it done fast, and I want to do things fast. But sometimes, some things you need to wait on it, like patience. Like, there's something I'm doing right now to do with Forex, right? It's got to do with signals. So me and my friend created something on ClickFunnels. I don't know if you know
That's
ClickFunnels,
right, yes.
the journey, and we're selling signals online. And when we were starting, we were like, it's going to pick up and we're going to sell out. And let me tell you something, yeah? We were losing money in the beginning. We keep on fixing it. And then I've hired a web developer, even though I have a full team, but I've hired someone externally. And he's taking forever to get this done. I'm like, buddy, the first funnel that we created, which we're making money, I actually created it one evening. I sat at home and I created it myself. Why the hell you're a developer? It's going to take you a month to complete.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But some things that you got to wait for them. But yeah, speed for me on my growth has really helped me succeed. But sometimes I rush to take decisions very, very fast. And then you realize you shouldn't have done it that fast. You should have taken, because some people are at different pace in life.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And sometimes when you change so fast, especially when you're doing changes in a business or a company, people fear change or fear changes because they fear the unknown. Because change is the unknown usually. And sometimes doing it very fast can be detrimental to the business, that you need to kind of do it gradually and be patient. So these are things that I think are not good in my habits,
Yes.
but at the same time, they're the reasons why my driving force, why I'm a success today.
Yeah. The thing is, with speed, I feel that this is the currency of today. Everything's changing, like I said, so fast. If you're not up to speed with it, like if you're going to execute a strategy 6 or 9 months down the track, that strategy would be void because it's applicable today.
Correct.
For today's market. 9 months later is like a child will be born in 9 months' time,
absolutely.
which is different. But yet at the same time, you got to have the patience in knowing that this is your journey. And so over the years, I've developed, I'm trying to still work on it, that balance of, okay, we need to execute on things to try and see if it works or not. Go full force on that, but be patient in just knowing this might not be the result you want, or it might just take much longer.
Look, you've been patient. You've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah, 20 plus years now.
There you go. And it was only the last 5, 6, 7 years where you've seen the boom. Yeah, you were successful before, but your boom was in the last 6 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
So you were patient to get to where you are today.
Yes.
Same as me, I've been doing it also real estate 13 years, 12 years or whatever. I've been patient to get to where I am today. Yeah, I've been successful before, but it's a journey, it's up and down.
What are your thoughts on blockchain?
That's interesting. I mean, I did a bit of mining myself, by the way. I bought rigs, got some guy to put them all together. I had them in the house, 2 of them.
Using up all the electricity.
Yeah, my bills went up. I was mining Ethereum at that time.
Yeah.
I switched it off because the bill was more than what I was generating.
Yeah.
And I've read a bit about it. I've bought a couple of Bitcoins. I bought some Ethereum, bought some Ripple, some EOS coins. I used Binance and I bought the wallets and all that kind of stuff. I'm into it. I feel Bitcoin for me, blockchain and Bitcoin, I separate them for me. Blockchain technology is great, and I feel that yes, it will be used for a lot of great things, but I feel people have even ridden the wave on that and they started using blockchain and everything. It's like back in the days, you add the word digital to anything and then you sell it for $1 billion.
That's right.
And I think the dot-com bubble, and I think people are using blockchain bubble right now. They're adding blockchain, so they create anything that probably doesn't even have blockchain, and they'll add
blockchain.
Yeah, it doesn't even need blockchain. They'll add blockchain to it to kind of confuse you and sell it to you at an expensive price. Or
sell you the white paper at 30 million.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I feel these things are dangerous, but the long-term blockchain is great. Bitcoin, for me, I did a lot of homework on it. For me, it was a great concept, and the technology behind it, blockchain, is great. But Bitcoin as a coin, I don't think can be used very well because it's very slow to transfer.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of electricity to get everyone to use it. And there's a lot of coins missing already. People have lost their wallet or lost their whatever. And there's a lot of Bitcoins and very few hands too. So for me in the future, I don't really see it going mainstream anymore. I think it's had its hype. It's like, for me, I remember when search engines came about. Do you remember Alta Vista?
Alta Vista.
You remember Alta Vista?
Yeah,
so Alta Vista was the biggest search engine back in the days. Then you had Yahoo. So they were the pioneers. Then you had Yahoo, Lycos, and then you have Google. Who's the biggest one? Google. No one uses any of the other ones, or they don't even exist. That's what Bitcoin is for me.
Yes.
Bitcoin is Alta
Alta
Vista.
Vista.
It was the dot-com boom. It grew up. It was all hyped up, but there will be an alternative coin using that similar technology that's kind of a lot better than Bitcoin that will be the future cryptocurrency. And that's what I believe. What coin it is right now, I don't have a crystal ball. Could it be Ripple? Could it be EOS? Could it be Libra that Facebook's creating? We don't know. But the technology behind it is great, and there will be an amazing coin coming out from it in the future.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin, for me, where Bitcoin can succeed if it becomes like the gold standard, you know?
Right.
Do you know what?
Value.
Yeah, the value of gold. Like we go back from fiat currency always to gold. It can be that. So Bitcoin can be the
Digital
gold, the digital gold.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And that's where I see Bitcoin going.
So that aside, where do you see opportunities? So in the next 5 or 10 years, whether it's Dubai or global, someone with your interests around the world, with your perspective, with your experience, what's your sight? What are you seeing in terms of opportunities in the next 5, 10 years?
Look, cryptocurrency, blockchain you mentioned as one. AI is very interesting. I have a lot of friends who are getting into AI. I've got a friend that's created that search AE where you can get and recruit people using AI, online interviews. I have a friend that created an AI where it creates content for your listings and all that. There's a lot of AI, and I believe AI is kind of the future. It's kind of a dangerous thing too. Do you know what I mean? Artificial intelligence. But I believe there will be a lot of things coming out of AI. But going about the future also, I mean, look, there's the world is changing. Okay,
yeah.
you know, you got content-driven marketing. Marketing's changing. People are changing. A lot of things are coming on board. Like, you know, we had MySpace. It died out. Facebook came around. Even Facebook right now, we were talking about my profile. I haven't even posted anything in the last couple of years.
The way it's being used is quite different now.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't use Facebook as much. I'm more on Instagram. Now people are on Instagram. Maybe that might change. I mean, TikTok, everyone's talking about TikTok. I'm not even on TikTok. I never really got into Snapchat, to be honest with you, even though it was really hyped up. But there will be something, we don't foresee it now, but there will be something that will overtake them all. And the world just adapts and changes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't know what's the future holding, but some interesting thing. We live in an era with a lot of change that's happening. Like yesterday I was watching a documentary about there's a genome and they knew how to take that one gene to extract it using protein where they can like cure a lot of genetically diseases. And they were even doing some genes changing rats that were glowing.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So like, what's the world going to? Do you know what I mean? They were starting that. They can cut a gene and change how you look like. Like, you might be you might come to me one day with blue eyes. You know what I mean?
There's a company called, I think, CRISPR.
Yes, that's what they were talking about, CRISPR.
Yeah.
That's the one. And they're even creating boxes where they can send it to you and you can play with some genes or something. I don't know. I was interested maybe to kind of order that box. I don't know if they'll deliver it here, but...
Create the next generation.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's crazy what's going on in the world. We live in some interesting times.
Man, it is interesting.
You know, not only like technology, but morals, ethics, everything's changing, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I want to ask you about blind spots. What blind spots do you see in business? You know, things that is common sense and it should be common practice, but it's not. For example, maybe you saw 2007, 2008, you know, when you were with Provident, you maybe looked at the international market or you had that experience with online and you're going to yourself, why isn't everyone going online? Well, I'm going to do it because it's an opportunity, because this is common sense and they're not doing it. And so you win as a result.
Yeah.
In today's market, where are the blind spots? Like, what do you see?
Look, there's, depending on, again, if we're going to go on the micro or the micro level, there's a lot. When internally, and I feel in having businesses, people need to like really manage their books properly, their accounting and all that kind of stuff, keep the people motivated, loyal, create a family kind of thing. When it comes about growing the business and looking at different things that changes in the market, we're in a very fast-paced industry. I'm in real estate brokerage right now. How long is that going to go on for? How long is a broker going to be getting listings, going for viewings, going meetings? I already hear of people creating apps today where an individual can list his own property, create a viewing, like Uber did. Like when Uber came around and disrupted the taxi business, it's happening in every business in a different way. And we kind of need to understand that we need to adapt to these changes. They're coming. So it hasn't come 100% to my business, but for sure, it's coming one day. Is it
Yes.
6 months? Is it a year? Is it in 2 years, 3 years? And I always need to keep an eye out and look for that for everything. Even my holiday home business, for example. There's new other different models are coming around where it's changing our business model. Even mortgages. Like we're the mortgages where you take clients, you meet them, you submit your documents to the banks in order to help them get the best rate and advise them. Today there's portals where you can fill up the form, it goes directly to 24 banks, and then they will quote you and give you the best offers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in every industry there is some disruptive change, and you need to figure out what is a disruptive change that's going to affect your business, and you need to adapt to it.
Because the problem is if you don't pay attention to this and you have the blind spot,
You'll
like
fail.
what? Yeah, you will fail. Like Kodak, they had 90% of the film roll
100%.
market.
Nokia, remember Nokia back in the day?
Remember Nokia?
I mean, everyone had a Nokia, and we thought they were going to be here forever. They
Yeah.
were gone. iPhone came with a better phone, better this, pictures, all that, and they took over. And in any businesses, today this is moving a lot faster.
Yes. Loai, what do you say to folks, especially in the Middle East? This seems to be a epidemic, or it's been at least for the last decade when I paid attention to it, where you have individuals who own like 15 companies. Now, whether it's a laptop business or a large retail business or a combination of which in the malls, some of these companies are not making any money. And the person or whoever is running it, they don't have the energy to go 15 ways.
Correct.
What are your thoughts on individuals who are trying their hands into so many different pies, as opposed to the mentality of focus on drilling one oil well, dig
Correct.
deep,
I agree.
and have that oil well
I mean,
give you what it needs to give you?
I felt in the same kind of thing. I've had different businesses. And if you look at my businesses that are active today, they're all kind of related. My brokerage, my mortgage brokerage, which is connected again to real estate, and my holiday homes connected again to real estate.
Yeah.
They're the ones that survive. They're the ones I have the most passion for. They're the ones I know the business inside out. They're the ones that made me the most money. So I've had the event company, I've had the general trading, I've had a lot of these other things that have what we discussed, not failed because the business model was failing, just that I didn't have the time to dedicate.
Yes.
I mean, you only have certain hours in your day or in your life.
But there's something that also comes with expertise in a certain
Absolutely.
field.
No, 100%. You need the expertise. So I jumped in general trading and I had no idea about general trading. I was trying to find out what's a bank guarantee, what's an LC, import, export tax, when you're shipping this product, how it gets there. And I kind of got overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I knew if I focused on it, I could make it successful. But if I didn't dedicate that enough time, it was not going to be successful. Especially when you start a new business, you need to dedicate a lot of your time and energy on it.
Yes.
Once it hits a level, then you can get people to run it for you. And then when they're running for you and you find the right people and you kind of incentivize them to run it for you in the right way, then you can focus on many different things.
And incentivize isn't just a salary.
Yeah. And this is the journey that I'm going through right now, is trying to figure out how to really incentivize people in order to really run the company as if you would run the company. And if you're just on a salary or just commission or an override, there's a limit because they're not sharing they're sharing your profits, but they're not sharing your losses.
Yes.
And all businesses go through losses. So for you, you have to kind of incentivize, give them some meat on the bone.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out the best formula, when, how much, the right way to motivate them to be a part of it. Because if they're just an employee, at one point or another, they're going to leave you. But if they're part of your journey, part of your success, and they have meat on the bone,
And they have interest, yes.
and they have interest for themselves, the journey will be a lot longer for yourself.
Like a successful law firm. I mean, that's
Correct.
that's the track they take you on. You
Correct.
join in, you build up, you
Yeah.
come up to the top, then you get a partnership stake.
I mean, I've had these conversations with, very successful business people that have a lot of companies that have been through that journey to give me advice. And each one of them had their own model. Some of them have, like, if he's worked for me for 5 years, he's done that much for me, I want to give him XY percentage. If he continues 10 years, he keeps on gaining it, from profit share it becomes actual shares. Other people said, oh no, I'll give it direct to him to incentivize him from the beginning. Everyone has their own model. You need to figure out your model that can work for your business and your field.
And in this day and age.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you can't ask today if someone is good, you can't ask them to treat it like their company or run it like their company if it's not
Yeah,
part of their
100%.
company. Like they need to have a part in it. Like you can't say you're a part of this company
Yeah.
without giving them a part of the company.
But even human beings, and this is something I've learned throughout time, I used to judge people, and I used to go, why is he not as ambitious as me? Or why is he not as determined as me? Or why does he want to get that as done as me? And just humans, we're all different.
We are different.
We all have different needs, wants in our life. Some people like the 9-to-6 job. Some
Yes.
people work in banks. They only want to work from 8 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon on a certain salary so they can have the afternoon free. Maybe they want to be with their family. Maybe they want to be in a coffee shop. Whatever makes them happy.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Everyone has different needs and wants in their life. And you kind of like, as a businessman, I always need to figure out what are these needs and wants of that person and make it match my needs and wants in my business.
And you bring out the best in them that way.
Absolutely.
How hard do you work?
Oh man. Can you see all the white hair? These are
It suits you.
You should cut.
George Clooney
We
look.
should sit down and count each hair, yeah? And that's how you're gonna see how hard I work.
I think you.
I appreciate it.
It suits your look.
Yeah.
Eligible bachelor, by the
Yeah,
way. if you're
thanks.
looking.
Appreciate it. I think, like, to be honest with you, right now I feel overworked, and I do work a lot, and I feel this is something that I want to kind of slow down. And I always tell people, look, I'm still in my 30s, mid-30s. If you're not really getting made your money before you hit 40, it's going to be very difficult afterwards.
Okay.
So you really need to, if you're young, you're in your 20s, or you're in your teens, in your 20s, that time, go for it. Put full force till your 30s. As you're aging, it's only going to get harder and harder. You're not going to have the energy that you have when you were younger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to go into the trenches the way you did in your 20s and the 30s. So put your time now. And some people are always like thinking, I'll make it in the future, I'll make it. Yeah, you can make it, but you're not going to be able to do the work that you're doing at a young age. So do your best right now, make your money right now so you can be smooth sailing. You want to retire as young as possible, right?
So you don't do 9 to 5.
Who does 9 to 5?
Let me tell you the story, because I just heard it and I thought it was interesting because he clearly has gone through this process. Akon was on a radio station and he shared the story of collaborating with Eminem. And
Okay.
he goes, Eminem goes to the studio.
Yeah.
Apparently this is what he does. He goes to the studio at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
He treats recording and working in the studio like a corporate job.
Okay.
So he goes at 9, and then at 1 o'clock he takes a lunch break.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back and is mixing and matching and doing what he's doing. 5 p.m. I'm off.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes home.
Okay, that's interesting.
And Akon turns up to the studio at 6 p.m. He's like, Em, where you at? He goes, I went home. He goes, but I just came to the studio. He goes, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. He goes, are you kidding me? He goes, no, see you tomorrow at 9. You're going to be there? He goes, yep, I'll be there. Next day, Akon turns up at 9 a.m. M is there, like sharp.
Yeah.
9 a.m. They're working. It's lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, buddy, I'm going to go and get some lunch. You want to come? Akon's like, no, I'm just going to go with you and what have you. He goes, okay. He goes out for lunch, comes back. They continue working. His mid-verse at 5 p.m., his mid-verse in his thing, going forward recording, and he goes, it's 5 p.m.
Interesting.
I'm off. And Akon asked him, he goes, how is it that you're doing it this way?
Yeah.
Like you're treating it like a proper job.
Yeah.
And what he said was really interesting. He goes, I'm not going to over-stress about it. It's going to go till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it tomorrow because he's got that discipline,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm going to do this tomorrow. But at the same time, not only do I want to do this, I also want to be able to go home and spend time with my daughter.
And that's work. Or we call it whatever you want, but that's very important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But this comes, and that to me was really profound because here is a guy who is great. And he's achieved greatness.
Yeah.
And yet he's applied not the entrepreneurial thing of burn yourself out and go all the way. He's actually gone, I'm going to do the discipline thing, but I'm going to do it consistently.
But you see, probably, I'm just making an assumption.
Yeah.
That's him today after he's reached greatness or he's close to greatness. I'm sure before he did the time and he grinded it out. And this is going back to say, do your grinding in your 20s and 30s.
Yes.
So in your 40s, you can be like Mr. Eminem and do your 9 to 5 o'clock and be structured and, do all this. And most successful people have their time. Like I was watching a documentary with Bill Gates and he's like meeting after meeting and they're on schedule.
Yes.
He has like 1 hour, that 1 hour meeting at 9 a.m. he has it. And then at 10 a.m. he's got another meeting. And I've had meetings that I've gone, I thought they were 1 hour, went on for 2 hours.
Yes.
This guy's structured. I know what I'm going to do. I do this, I move on. So maybe with his experience and he's reached what he's need to reach in life, that this is how he structures his day. And family life is important, life too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he's structured it in that way, and I think it works for him.
And you just got to see what's right for you. You touched on
Correct.
it.
But it's quite interesting that I want to watch it. I want to read about it. Have read the book Tools of the Titans?
It's good. I've got a man crush
Yeah.
on Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
So,
So I haven't read it all.
Podcasts.
Yeah, I haven't read it all, but it's a big book. But you can take a different part, and he will talk about different people
So good.
and how they're living their life.
So good.
And you learn, you kind of take from them and put in yourself. For example, I'll give you an example. I always tell people in my office, all people that are successful wake up early. Yeah? Is this a fact? Let's say majority of people
Yes.
that wake early are
Yes.
successful. There are people that wake up late.
That's right. Yeah.
So it works for them.
Yes.
But it doesn't work with the majority. If you want to be successful, follow the influence or the habits. Like, you got that book, 7 Habits of Successful People. Follow the habits of successful people, because it doesn't mean 100% you're going to be successful because you're following these habits.
Sure.
But your chances of being successful
It's a lot higher.
is a lot higher. And that's what you need to do, is increase your percentage rate or potentially be more successful by doing these kind of things.
Yes.
By waking up early doesn't mean you're going to be successful.
Not at all.
By sleeping early doesn't guarantee you success. By reading books doesn't guarantee you success. By watching podcasts, by doing all these courses doesn't guarantee it. There's no guarantee in life except one thing: death. That's the only guarantee.
And taxes.
And taxes, exactly. So that's the only guarantee in life. But all of these things increase your chances of percentage of being more successful.
And it's understanding the message behind each one.
Yeah.
And seeing how can it work for me? Because, for example, Trevor Noah wakes up late but goes to sleep early morning.
There you go.
That's when he actually sleeps, which is completely different. The idea of waking up early.
To go to the late night show.
That's right. He's got the late night show. Yeah. And then after that, he walks down and he goes to comedy clubs.
Yeah.
But the thing about waking up early was based on the fact that you will get uninterrupted 3 to 4 hours.
Mhm.
So if for you, 2 to 6 p.m. is your prime, you create the uninterrupted thing at 2 to 6 p.m.
Yeah. You see, for me, I do a lot of work when I go back home. And the reason why, because talking about interruption, when I'm in the office, I do get interrupted a lot. And I think that's kind of also been my fault, that I have an open door policy for my people. It's been kind of good because people feel they can relate to me and they can be helped a lot. But what's happened to me, that every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, someone knocks on the door and they're asking me different things. My brain is just scattered, that it kind of overloads me and I get really shattered. And it takes a lot of my energy. And sometimes I feel like I want to get work done. I will not have half an hour to 1 hour full time doing one thing that I want to do, because I'll be disturbed. The only time I get that is when I'm at home.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And that's sometimes I get my best work is when I go back home. Because I'm uninterrupted, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think scheduling your time in throughout the day is very, very important. I'm meeting Amira Sejwani at 4 o'clock. That's my meeting.
Yeah.
So I had a meeting with her last week, and I even told my agents. The girl's 23 years old. And so we were sitting down talking. So it was like casual meeting to prepare for the next meeting, which is for today. And then she's like, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day. I do my prayers. Then I go to the gym, and I start my office at 8:30. And we were joking because she's like a billionaire. She wears an Apple Watch. Okay? So now you got an Apple Watch too, and I have an Apple Watch too. And she's like, yeah, I really like it. She's like, when I go to the gym, one day I didn't go to the gym, and I told my brother I was in the gym, and he said, you're lying, you were in the gym, because they are sharing their activities. So the funny thing is, she's a girl, 23 years old. If she wanted to go on vacation or sleep for 40, 50 years, she will still wake up with a couple of billion.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to do anything, this girl. The girl wakes up early, goes to work. And I go to my agents, guys, you guys want to make money, you got a family, you got this, you want to support them, you want to send money back, you want to buy a home, you want to do all of that, right? And you don't have that money right now. I agree. I'm like, why is she doing it? And she has everything, and she's going to get more, and you don't have anything, and you're not doing it.
And you should have more of a drive.
Correct.
What drives her?
This is my videographer, by the way. Gonna meet him.
Don't worry, you still have a job, Robert. You still have a job. It's all good.
Interviewing a videographer.
Yeah. So
What drives her?
you see, that's what I found unique and I really liked. It's some people that I do not think it's financial success for her, but she already has that. She already has the money. And I think it's more successful. They're building a developer, or they want to be the biggest developer in the region. And her father, probably, she's learned these habits that are successful from her father.
Fantastic.
You know what I mean? Her father is a great inspiration.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of aspects when you look at successful people. and habits. And I think, I like to learn that from people, and that's how you better yourself. And I always, in my trainings with my agents also, I discuss the habits of successful brokers, personalities, and whatever. And we need to learn from them. And again, like I said, a lot of people go, oh, yeah, but no one's telling you anything's guaranteed in life.
That's right.
No one's telling you by following these habits that it's going to guarantee you, but it's only going to help you or increase your chances. It's like when an agent, you're learning your product better, you're learning more negotiation skills, you're learning more sales skills. Doesn't mean every time you're going to meet a client, you're going to close them just because you read a book and you're the best salesman in the world. But what it does, if your chances were 20% closing it, it's jumped up to 70% that you're going to close it. Same with aspect of successful people. Look at their habits, and you will find a lot of similarities in them, and you should try to adapt it. I'll tell you one habit, for example, that I don't like that I do. I smoke. As you notice, we had a couple of breaks and I've had a cigarette. Most successful people don't smoke. Yeah? Of course, you've got a lot of successful people that do.
Sure.
Yeah? But majority, why? Because when you're smoking, it lowers your energy levels. It creates, like different things in your body and all that bad habit. And successful people, you need to be able to break out of that habits and change into good habits. So, this is one thing that I've been trying to quit, and I will quit one day. Is smoking.
With smoking or any aspect of our life, we've all had times in our lives where we procrastinated and that just stayed for ages.
Correct.
But then we make a decision.
Yeah.
And once you make a decision, for whatever your reasons are, then it's just plain sailing. Everything is just in line with that decision.
And even, for example, living a better, healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
I mean, people that really, am I going to be more successful if I'm healthy or I'm on a good diet? Well, if you're on a good diet, you're going to get more energy. More energy is going to make your day better, be more productive, which is going to result in probably you being more successful.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And if you look at these artists, you laugh at, they have plenty of time to do it. But it could be that because they've done it, they've been also more successful.
Yes, 100%.
You get what I mean?
100%.
And these are little things like, I go time to time for training and gym, but I believe still I'm not going as much as I want to. And my plan is, I got to go to the gym a lot more.
And you even touched on it, but if someone like Amira Sajwani, who's got everything she needs, is willing to wake up in the morning, or the likes of Richard Branson, billionaire, owner of how many businesses, and in terms of different industries, and he says that just the fact that he works out, he gets an extra 4 hours a day in productivity.
If you have these kind of characteristics, you're more successful. And then talking about the timing is that we discussed it in the office many times. I'm like, okay, there's agent XYZ, okay, or ABC. Agent A comes to the office at 8, leaves at 6. He's working, say, you do the call at 6, 3, 9, whatever, 10 hours. And you have an agent that comes in at 11 and leaves at 4 o'clock. He's doing 4 hours. So he's got 3 hours or 4 hours ahead of you per day, which is a lot. But if you do it per week, that becomes 16 hours. If you times that by month, it can be up to 40 hours. He's already worked more than you a whole week.
That's right.
And if you take these hours, that's why he's more successful. So don't only break it up per day, break it up per week, per month, per year.
What are you grateful for?
Everything, for being alive.
I ask this because we all, from time to time, need that reminder.
Yeah.
We forget. I forget. Just last week I was grumbling in my own head. I'm just the serious type and I'm the speedy type and I'm grumbling in my head. And I find that God, I believe in God, always, every time I'm in this mood, I see something which is a sign from Him saying, be grateful.
Yeah.
And then maybe I see someone in a wheelchair and I'm going, Kev, come on, you're walking, Kev.
Absolutely.
You're walking. Just shut the f*** up and walk.
Like, if you're going to say what's the biggest lie that people, and I think I felt for it and everyone else, is that self-entitlement, that you're entitled to success for being yourself. And that's not the truth. You have to be a go-getter and get it. And a lot of people think, why don't I have money? Why am I not successful? Why am I this? Why does he have it so easy? Why do I have life so hard on me?
But what a defeating perspective. Like, it's self-defeating. Just
absolutely.
Questions are self-defeating.
I mean, they need to look at themselves. No one's entitled to anything.
Nothing.
You're not entitled to anything. You make it yourself. You need to go out. No one's going to feed you for being you. I mean, it's like a child and you feel like you're entitled to the world, to success, to money, to the best wife, to the most beautiful girlfriend. No, you need to work on it. Your health. You need to go to the gym to get healthy, or look good. But people just sit down, they dream because they feel self-entitled or or I don't know, whatever. But that's, I think, the biggest lie that people live by, the self-entitlement. That you deserve it without working for it.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they don't go for it. They think they're going to get lucky, or something's going to happen, they're going to win the lottery.
Or they're chasing that one big deal.
Or chasing, I know people like that laughing about that. I know people that be chasing that one big deal for 10 years. Till today they're chasing it.
And if you're not willing to do the discovery guide on rentals, you'll
Correct.
never get an opportunity
Absolutely.
to close those big deals.
Yeah.
How do you know when you're ready to do something? And because this is something where, especially when we're dealing with a world of change, where we're having to pivot, how do you know it's time? Okay, we got to do this. Like that confidence,
Yeah.
taking the action.
There's no right time for anything. That's what I've learned. You just gotta do it. When's the right time? It's like, when's the right time to get married? I don't know. When's the right time to have a kid? I don't know. You just go and do it. There's no right time. You know, like if you figure it out and you can do it, go do it. That's the right time.
Yeah.
The moment that you know it can be done, or you have the time to do it, go do it.
Even if it's not perfect, just start.
Nothing's ever perfect. If you're waiting for perfectionism, you're never gonna get anything done.
What's a quote or philosophy that you live by?
I mean, look, work hard so good luck can find you.
Nice.
This is something I actually have it on my phone, by the way, to
Nice.
remind me. But you can't really see it, but it's on the thing. Work
On
hard
the
so good
background.
luck can find you. Because I really believe in that. You know, some people like, you know, they just want things to happen by themselves, by
Yes.
doing very little. And a lot of people you might be doing something where you're successful and people go, oh, he got lucky. Or I've heard that about me, Loai was lucky. Or this guy's lucky. No, mate, I wasn't lucky. Actually, anything, I was unlucky. I made my luck. You know, I worked hard to be where I was. Yeah, I got the opportunities because I was prepared for all these years that I've worked and prepared myself, my education, my self-investment, my learning, all the things I've been throughout my life took me on this journey. And it was a lot of hard work to get where I was today. So I wasn't lucky. So hard work, you know, the quote I said, work hard so good luck can find you.
Nice.
And I think that's something that really resonates, and that's why I have it saved on my phone, because to remind me all the
A
time.
daily reminder
Correct.
or an hourly reminder if you're on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of investment, what's been your best investment on yourself? So not in terms of investment in businesses or real estate. What's been the best investment you made in yourself?
Look, there again, for me, there isn't one single investment. It is constant education, traveling. I love when I travel. I get really inspired.
Yeah.
Not just by seeing these places, but seeing history, meeting different people. It opens your mind. When you're traveling, also you see things that are missing maybe in a country you're working in. So I do advise anyone, if you're not traveling much, put some time and do some traveling. It feeds your mind, your energy, your soul. And traveling is very inspirational, and I do advise everyone to travel as much as they can. And it's helpful, it's educational too.
Yeah.
That's the soul, you know, it soothes the soul.
It really does
feeds you.
feed it, yeah.
Yeah,
I was telling my brother this. I was telling him, hey, every time I travel, even if it's to the same country or the
Yeah.
city, but it's just I'm in a different place, it's a different
different
vibe.
mind frame too at the same time.
I feel like I'm adding pages to my book. If
Absolutely,
my life was a book, I'm adding pages to it.
definitely.
And the more I do it,
Yeah.
the richer it becomes.
Yeah, exactly.
Work-life balance. What are your thoughts on it?
You see, this is something that I've struggled with a lot. I'm not that great with it. I would definitely try to create a better work-life balance. I do work a lot. I told you, like, even after work, I go home and I do a lot of work. But that's because I'm not married right now with no kids. But I believe when you have it, you need to kind of balance your lifestyle, create schedules for yourself, be organized. This is a time for work. You go home, that's your family time.
Yeah.
You need to have that balance a little bit, because if you don't, you will drain your energy. You'll wear down. And I've worn down many times. My way of getting out, I told you, like, I meditate, taking my mind off things, or traveling. When you travel, that clears your mind. You come back with energy again. That's what's good. It's very important. And most of my traveling, by the way, is for 3-4 days.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be long.
Yeah, it's all 3-4 days, sometimes 2 days or whatever. You go, you energize, and you come back to work. And that for me is very, very important. That's my balance for now.
Best advice you've received?
One of the best advice is, but why it's memorable, because I was pretty young, is when I first was getting my career. So my granduncle, which is my dad's uncle, told me, don't be a penny wise and a pound foolish. And I didn't get it that time, but I learned it. And because I've got these bad habits, when I make money, or a lot of money, I go spending, popping champagne, doing and spending it and all that kind of stuff. And I used to do that a lot. And I've learned, no, don't be stupid. And sometimes like you're willing to pay a lot of money for things and then you're like, pennies, counting it and all that kind of stuff. It's all good. And that was a kind of memorable thing. Another thing a friend of mine told me when I started Provident, and he goes to me, before you open any businesses or any business that you're going to open, get your client first and then open the business.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
yes,
for me, for the real estate, it didn't really work. It can't work because you can't go get a client and
but
then
that
wait
philosophy is good.
Yeah, you can't go wait to get the license so you can close that guy to buy a property. But for different businesses, especially at that time, it's important. Get your clients and then open the business.
Because many make the mistake of spending time on their branding, on the website, on this, on that, on what have you, furniture, office.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we can't get any clients.
Yeah,
we don't even have a business.
And I know a lot of people that their businesses failed very fast because they did focus too much on the branding, on doing the pens, the glasses or whatever, or the furniture, spend a lot of money, and then they weren't able to get any clients. And I think that the focus was very wrong and they shut down.
Very quick death.
Yeah.
Best advice you had received that you did not take?
Best advice that I've received.
Or a good advice that you had received but you didn't take it?
Probably about Bitcoins and stuff, you know what I mean? Everyone was talking about Bitcoin years ago and I didn't buy a Bitcoin when it was very, very
When it was
cheap.
what, $1 or $2?
Yeah,
$1, $2,
so I
$3?
know a bit more. I think it was in the hundreds. I should have bought it that time. I mean, I heard about it before, but who would have thought it would have went boom? But, a lot of people dwell, and I've got some friends that have been telling me about some new altcoins. They're like, oh man, what do you think I should invest in? It's going to be the next Bitcoin. People are saying, I'm like, listen, people are using that trend to kind of sell you on it. I do not think it's going to happen. It's one of these things that happen in life. Will it happen again in our lifetime? Maybe, but don't dwell that you didn't buy Bitcoin.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And people sometimes maybe dwell on things that they missed out on. Everyone, I believe, get their time, and everyone will get their,
And just really going back on what you said is to something I've learned by losing a lot of money.
Mhm.
Do stuff that you're good at, that
Mhm.
you know about, that you
Absolutely.
have expertise on. Because if you start dabbling in different things,
Mhm.
no one's going to love your money more than you.
No, absolutely. You need to do what you enjoy. Be focused on what you're doing. Don't be a jack of everything and, master of none. Just focus on what you're good and you will make your money.
Yeah.
Be passionate. Definitely.
As much as we also have a world with great individuals, great mentors, great heroes, social media, there's a lot of great content. The world is also filled with people that give you rubbish advice.
Yeah, of
What's
course.
been a rubbish advice you've received over the years?
And look, there's a lot of things like online right now. We need to distinguish between the fake people and the not. Like in Instagram, you open Instagram right now or Facebook or whatever, or YouTube, you'll find a lot of people trying to sell you different things. Buy Forex, buy binary, buy these commodities, get rich quick schemes. And I think a lot of people fail for it because they're using that emotional thing in us that, I'm entitled to, I want to be rich if I buy, it's like I'm going to win the lottery or something.
Do it the lazy way.
The lazy way. And I don't think, with my experience and people that I know and whatever, nothing's ever been easy. Everything's been a long, long, tough journey. And if you think you're going to make it quick, you're going to be hit really, really hard. You're going to be really disappointed.
Yeah.
And we discussed it before. I know a lot of people that really focus on these quick money schemes, but the thing is they've been doing it now for 10, 12, and 14, and 15 years. Get quick.
Still chasing
And they're
the
still
big
chasing. If they really focus their energies, they would have already made that money that they were dreaming about for all these long
deals.
time.
Doing it properly.
Yeah. And I think probably if you're going to say, what's the best thing that you've learned is that. There's nothing easy and nothing quick to make.
It's just hard work.
Yeah, a lot of hard work.
Has anyone ever told you something that you're going, no, that's just absolute rubbish? Like, has anyone ever told you you're too young or don't do real estate? Or
Well,
did you ever get that, or you were prone to?
I never really had anyone told me don't do this or do that or whatever. I don't know. No, I don't feel like.
Okay.
Yeah,
Your future kids,
yeah.
you only have the opportunity to teach them one trait or one skill or an attitude that you can leave them with to give them the best chance at having a successful life, and you can only have one. What would you like to pass on to them?
I wanted to say two. You put
Go
me
on,
on one.
Go on, two is fine.
One is be humble. Okay. One, I would love my kids and everyone around me to be humble and do what they love. Today, if someone loves to play the piano, you can be a superstar piano player. You want to be a soccer or sports person, athletes, you can be that. be what you want to be. Enjoy life, because you only live it once. You know, not everyone should take the path of being a businessman, being business or general trading, or a doctor or a physician, whatever. Do what you've got passion for. That's very, very important. You'll be successful.
Nice.
So follow your passion, your heart, and be humble during the whole journey.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
That's real good. What's your superpower? Like, what comes to you with ease?
Do you know, my mind works like a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I feel that I can kind of like quickly evaluate things very, very fast. And I've experienced a lot through the journey of many failures. So I've learned, so I can really spot things that will work and will not work very, very fast. But I'm not born with that. No one's born with anything.
You've developed it.
I've developed it because of these experiences. So I can look at a scenario and I can exactly tell you what are potential things that might go wrong and what can go right and what are going to be issues that we're going to face before they even happen. Not always are they going to happen, but I can kind of predict to a good percentage that they will happen, and that's because of the experience I've had in life and in business, I would say. And that's helping me a lot throughout time.
What are you terrible at?
Terrible at.
Like, what do you just suck at? Like, for me, accounts.
Look, I wouldn't say I suck at anything particular. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of accounts. I've got my accountants. Every time they bring me things, I look at it very fast. I ask a few questions just to make sure that he feels that I'm really interested, or like giving him, like, I'm checking him out. You know, what is this? What is that? But I don't really. I just want to know the last figure. What's my money in? What's my money out? How much I've made?
Where are we at?
Where are we at right now? How much do I need to make? And I'll just check him out on a couple of things. I'm not a big guy who likes accounting. Am I good at counting numbers? Absolutely yes. What else? Things that particularly I don't think I'm good at. I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
So for me, and this is what I say to a lot of people, so I've got a lot of faults, which means when I'm reading something, I sometimes read it wrong and I have to go back and read it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it takes me time to absorb whatever I'm reading. And for example, when I'm writing an email, I'm more of a guy that I like to talk face to face. I don't like writing things. I don't like to type things. So anything that I want to do in the office, I'll go to the person and I'll grab him and I'll talk to him and tell him I want it done this way. And I think what's been my drawback, that I should have kind of like put it in writing. And, there's like going back to it. Because a lot of times, no, you never told me to do this.
So you don't have it.
And I think that's kind of been my fault. But I get things done very fast because I'm going and talking to very people, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. You know
That's
what
your
I mean?
double-edged sword, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a good thing and a bad thing. I hate writing. Like sometimes I'll get an email from someone and it's like really, really long. I'm like, man, why did you write it so long? You could have just spoken to me. You sit over there. Why are you writing me an email? Let's talk about it.
I was just thinking.
Do you know what I
I was
mean?
just thinking about the email I sent you, which I never got a response.
Yeah, there you go, because it was a long email.
Oh, I got it. As soon as we spoke on the phone, I was
But
like,
that's
I'm never gonna get a reply on the
This is
email.
my habits, you know? I like to do things by hand, like get involved in hand talk. I don't like to write too much. And I think that's maybe a downfall, but it's been also my driving force.
Man,
my
you're awesome.
success.
You're awesome. 500 years from now, history is going to read, Loai Al Fakir was...
Yeah. For me, it's an interesting question. When I was young, it's funny, I had a board and I had turned it around. It was like a painting. And my friends used to laugh when they used to come to my house and I wrote, at 27, I wanted to be a millionaire. At 33, a billionaire. Well, obviously, I'm not a billionaire, and I'm already 36. But do I want to be a billionaire? Hopefully, one day, maybe. But I don't think it's about the money aspect I look at. Is that leaving something behind that's memorable, that could have been some little change in the world, that could have helped people in either business or in happiness. Like I'm doing something with a friend, right? He's building a school and I'm helping him build a school in Zanzibar right now.
I saw that post.
Yeah, so for me, it's like this kind of things I enjoy doing and the satisfaction. And even in my company, when I get agents who are successful and they're able to buy homes back at home, getting married, have a family, putting their kids at school, that gives me satisfaction. So doing something good in the world, remember it for being good, is something I'll be satisfied. However, I still feel my journey is still the beginning. And there's still so much coming in. So about that 500 years, maybe in 10 years, in your next podcast, we can talk about that topic.
You know what? I'm gonna say we're gonna say it here that we highly recommend that Loai starts his podcast ASAP. You already had it in your mind, but
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
man.
no.
I really appreciate, and it was Good seeing you today and catching up after all these years, and I'm glad you're doing so well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You as well, man. I truly admire you.
Admire you too, brother.
I really appreciate the fact that you made the time because I know you're a busy man.
Thanks, man.
But before we let you go, one last question.
Tell me.
Because we live in a world that is attention deficit.
Yeah.
If you had the attention of the audience, if you had the attention of a global audience for 60 seconds, and if no one's understood or watched the video or listened to the podcast so far, and you only had 60 seconds, what would be your message to the world?
My message to the world would be humble, treat people with respect as how you would want people to treat you. It's not all about money. Success is not determined by money. There's a lot of people who are successful and it's not based on financial status. Be happy, do what you have passion for, what you love. In your journey and whatever, treat people fairly. It will come back to you if you're not nice to people or helpful. And be a support, like help people on your journey. Trust me, you'll get a lot of satisfaction when you're helping people on your journey. It gives satisfaction that is irreplaceable for any financial kind of thing. And just be humble and be a good person and leave your mark. And everyone is special in the world, and find out what you're special at and what you can give back to the world. And don't be too hard on yourself.
Man, gems.
Yeah.
Folks, I don't know about you, but I hope so, because I right now, and my brother over here who's helping me out with the podcast and the show, I'm truly inspired by a man whom I've known, who I've been following for ages. But just to hear him speak really has got me thinking on quite a few things. As you also know, I also do summary notes, which means that I actually go through these videos a second time. And I often find, and I guarantee that if you watch this video a second time or listen to this podcast a second time, you will get even more value from it. So I recommend it. If you want the summary notes, we'll put in the link for you to be able to get that. As you know, our show has nothing to do with showing off, because it's easy to do that when we meet with successful people like Loai.
Thanks.
But no, I truly mean it. It's easy to show off. But we hope that this episode helps you get inspired, get informed, and get going. If you have any recommendations for guests, put them in the comments below. If you have any questions about the episode today, put them in the comments below. The chances are it will be me answering it. I doubt we will get you to answer it, because he just mentioned he doesn't like typing it out. But ask your questions. If we have to, we might even do some videos on socials and get your questions answered. If not, we'll get another guest to share their answers with their perspective. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until the next episode, I'm Kevin Abdulrahman. This is How Do They Do It?
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Let's finish it with a little arm wrestle.
What's it about? I wasn't ready. Hold on.
Too late, that's what you got.
I was going to say, even if I'm ready, he's pretty strong. I'm not going anywhere.